But it's definitely not bad because
there.
Yeah, you would think so. It's probably something within Streamlabs.
So I may have to end the stream and restart it.
Probably.
Cool. We'll be back, Tucker.
I have. No, I have audio. You don't have to.
Oh, okay. So turning back on worked. Is it good audio? Does it sound right?
It's coming through the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear? So you hear us now, Tucker? Do we sound good? Promise I didn't hit any buttons when I. Yeah. Tucker saw the studio last weekend for the first time. He came for the Vanderbilt baseball series and came over and we hung out and watching basketball. And he said, "I did not. Thank you, Tucker. You have saved us."
Oh gosh, that would have been bad.
Now we start the show over real quick.
Yeah, we
for the
pretend like
podcast.
none of that ever happened.
Exactly.
What is up, team? And welcome back to another episode of the Technical Foul Podcast. You're joined by the three of us today. I'm Jack Anderson. Sitting to my right is JP Pusilowski, and to my left is Sanders Oakley. You're really joined by four of us today, and I just want to give a special shout-out to a good friend of ours in the chat who joined early enough and pointed out that for some reason, we don't know why, we had no audio. So you're joined by Tucker Medlin in the chat as well today. Give a round of applause for Tucker.
Absolutely huge. I would have hated for this show to join
The Void.
the graveyard.
Yeah.
That has not been added to in a while.
Correct. There's
thankfully.
2 shows in the graveyard, probably.
I think it's 3. I think we have 2 at the old studio, and then the one that I wasn't here. That everything.
Well, technically that show existed. It just sounded really bad.
I didn't post anything from that video from that show.
Um,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of terrified now that the sound would go out again. So I may just keep my iPad on over here.
That's fair. But yeah, shout out Tucker. And with that being said, how are y'all doing today?
Fantastic. Had a wedding this weekend.
Sure.
Second of 6 weddings this year, as y'all know, because I told you 5 to 10 minutes ago.
Yep.
But nobody else knows that. Anyway, second of 6 weddings this year, and me and my family have decided that we're going to start renting ourselves out for weddings because we bring the party on the dance floor. There's like 10 to 15 of us, and so we fill up the dance floor and make it look fun. And then we get all the people out there. We had kids out there who we didn't know who were like getting in the middle of like mosh pit or whatever,
Sure.
like dancing, and like it's just fun to let them be the center of attention because that's how my youngest brother was when he was that age and still is. His go-to move is the minute the music comes on, tie comes off and goes around the head like a bandana or whatever.
He was the first on the dance floor at my wedding.
Yes,
so
he was.
I know exactly what you're talking
He
about.
was. So we had that. And then we're just great at takedown tables, tablecloths, chairs. It's the band kids in us. We're all a bunch of band kids, and so we're used to taking down concerts and
Sure.
stuff like that. But yeah, that was really fun. A good wedding. And yeah, I kind of forget what I said 5 minutes ago, so that's kind of all I have, to say there.
I think that's really all you brought up.
Oh, it was my younger brother's birthday.
Yes.
Did bring that
yeah.
up. Turned 16. We have said his name on the show before, so we'll say it again. Harris. We dox him regularly. But yeah, it was his 16th birthday, so it was fun to get to be around him, and he rode in the car with me, so we hung out a little bit. I wasn't listening to music, and he did not, so we listened to music, which in hindsight I probably should have. He wanted to do like Sporkles, which is like sports trivia.
Yeah.
Probably should let him pick because it's his birthday, but I was driving, so I feel like
Well,
that.
you could have done both, no?
Yeah, probably.
Music in the background,
Probably.
down Sporkles.
Yeah, we stopped in Tuscaloosa. Some would say my favorite town. I would not say that, obviously.
What did you stop there for?
Lunch. Me and my family stopped there for lunch because it was going.
Fusakli's?
The wedding was
the
like
place of lore and legend.
north of Birmingham.
Yeah.
So coming back, that was like the last spot before my family went south, and we kept coming across.
Gotcha.
Where did you stop?
Jack's something hamburger place. It was a hamburger place.
But it wasn't like a
Recommended
chain.
by
it was just
recommended by Chomps
Yeah,
and his
yeah.
and his lady.
Fiance.
Tucker would
Fiancé.
probably know the.
Tucker
burger
might
place.
actually know. I don't remember. It was on the river. It was like in the old industrial area. But yeah, I of course I got out of my car and realized I wasn't wearing anything Mississippi State themed, so I got my baseball cap out and wore it to
Yep.
represent in enemy territory. But yeah, it was good food. But that's all that
Sure.
I have to say about my week and my weekend. JP?
I would personally recommend the Bojangles in Tuscaloosa.
Bojangles is very good. I love a good Bojangles, man.
Probably, well, outside of Dreamlands, probably the only place I've eaten in Tuscaloosa. That's about the only two things I'll do rolling through there. That was kind of a tradition growing up whenever we came out to Starkville for a football game from Atlanta or to visit my grandparents in Jackson.
Sure.
We would always, even though when we're going to Jackson, you don't need to drive through Tuscaloosa. You're not really supposed to. We did so that we could stop at Dreamland, the original in Tuscaloosa. My dad loves it so much. So shout out to my dad. Shout out Dreamland.
I don't think I've ever stopped in Tuscaloosa before.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Have you
driven through multiple times
Okay.
on the way to Birmingham.
But you never
and
even
such.
just been there. Okay, I didn't know if when you meant stop, like you've never like.
Like I've
Okay.
driven through, but I don't think I physically like not. I don't even think like to stop and pump gas.
That's crazy.
Could be wrong, but I feel like that's right.
I've
There's
officially
nowhere
decided-
to stop and pump gas there.
Is Baumhauer's? Where's the place that Nick Saban would do his radio show every week, like after football games or before, like the week of football games? If you know the answer to that, Tucker, because I think I went there a couple years ago. But I don't remember what that was called. That might be Baumhauer's. It sounds familiar.
I've never heard of Baumhauer's, but also I don't know where.
Yeah, having never been there, you probably
Correct.
wouldn't have.
And I also don't know where Nick Saban does his radio show.
Yeah,
Um,
or like, and then I think
Do y'all coach? Do y'all's coaches do a weekly radio show?
Yeah, walk-ons.
Okay, walk-ons is the spot.
Yep. I mean, yeah, you're well acquainted with walk-ons with their student discounts.
Yeah, it's pretty fire. Do you know
Um,
about their student discount?
No.
$5. You can get their $5 like burger combo on Wednesdays if you show your student ID.
I won't go there.
Okay, fair enough.
But I appreciate. I'll.
we just
I'll
did
spread
we
the
just did a
news.
free ad. I mean, there you go, walk-ons. If you want to
I
pay
don't
us
see
for
it as a
that,
free ad as much as like that's a pretty darn good deal. So we're potentially helping some people out.
That's fair.
I went
That's
there
fair.
once and I didn't like it. So
I enjoyed it when I went. So maybe you just went on a bad day. It happens.
It's your classic like they do a whole lot of stuff and none of it is really all that good.
yeah.
But if you're gonna give me a burger for $5 and fries and it's like a pretty sizable burger and fries, I'll go and I'll go with the coworkers, over the summer for lunch. But so it is where he does the radio show.
Okay, yeah, I have been there then.
And that's where his parents met.
That's sick. Tucker lore right there.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, that's all. Jack, how was your weekend?
It was good. Braves baseball started. Started
Finally.
with a bang, a good series win, a walk-off grand slam on Saturday. Hopefully keep that rolling. We got Bryce Elder pitching today, so that's scary. But we have that. NBA is going great. Wemby's trying to make his MVP push. It's not going to happen. I actually don't think he should win MVP, but that's okay. Still fun to watch. March Madness is going on. And then I painted this weekend.
Sick.
So
I will
that's
talk
it.
about the MLB. I will say one other quick thing about my brother. He had a birthday and got to go to a wedding, but he had a terrible, terrible sports weekend.
Did you all win the series?
No, he made a bet with me on Thursday's
That was
show
his own. Yeah.
that if the Padres won a game, he would wear my Padres jersey out in public to lunch or something. Padres won the final game, Game 3.
Yeah.
So that happened. Kentucky lost the series to LSU after being in a position to win it. And then finally, Kentucky women's basketball lost in the Sweet 16, I believe. I can't remember where they lost, but they lost. And then, so they didn't go to the Final Four, which he woke up on his birthday yesterday. And my mom was like, we don't have a present for you right now because your present was going to be going to the Final Four if they win. Which to a 16-year-old is kind of like, well, that doesn't really help me because they didn't go.
The thought is cool.
The thought was there.
I mean, I never got my 16th birthday present in the same vein of it was to go to the College World Series, except COVID shut that one down. Which technically that means the Aggies didn't make it, but
yeah. Well, you can just, when state goes, you can come as an honorary state fan this year.
I'll be busy, unfortunately.
That's tough.
Moving.
Tough.
It is tough. I'd much rather go, but it is what it is.
We'll make it happen. If we all help you move, you can move faster.
I'll technically already be moved by then,
Oh, then you're not
but
even...
I'll just be working. So
But yeah, tough weekend of sports for my younger brother. We did a jersey swap at his request, and then
That's
he
fire.
wore it to lunch in Tuscaloosa where no one recognized him, so it wasn't as embarrassing. But yeah, that was my weekend. Do we want to start Mississippi State or March Madness?
we'll start with you and Mississippi State recap. Cool. Then hit the March Madness weekend recap, and then roll into my 1.5 mock draft.
1 point. Is
Yeah,
it not just
'cause
one? Oh yeah, because
I had
the
half
1.0
of one
yeah,
that never saw the light of day
Yeah.
due to free agency.
I'll go ahead and start off the Mississippi State recap with baseball. Actually, no, I'm not. I said last week that we wouldn't talk about basketball anymore, and then Jack made the point that we might because of portal news. We had our first portal news of the day, or lack of. Madison Francis is returning for her sophomore
We
year.
have more portal news besides that.
Oh, we do.
Bye to Delquan and
Yeah,
potentially
negative,
JDF.
negative portal news. I'm not talking about the negative.
Okay.
Delquan Warren entered the portal. JDF entered the portal. He said he's open to returning, but we'll see how that goes. But the positive news is what we're focusing on in today's show. Madison Francis has announced she's returning for her second year, her sophomore year, which is huge. She was fantastic defensively and was a fringe 5-star recruit, maybe a 4-star, depending on what site you used out of high school. So being able to keep her is huge. And then we already know Wadozie is returning, so I just want to throw that out there because now we have 2 players who were 2 of our best players, if not our 2 best players, have already said they're coming back. But that's all on basketball. Cool. Baseball goes 4-0 this week against 4 ranked in-state opponents. We had an opportunity for revenge on Tuesday night against Southern Miss, and we very much took advantage of it. We beat them, I believe, 12-0. We run-ruled them. I actually don't have the score pulled up because it was just irrelevant, the exact score. We run-ruled them, and it was one of the longest 7.5-inning games that I can remember.
As well as a midweek attendance record.
6.5 innings. Yes, 6.5 innings, and yes, it was the midweek attendance record, the most we've ever had on campus for a midweek game, and probably the most that anyone's ever had for a midweek game.
Remember, it's 12K.
Yeah, I don't know who else is pulling 12K for a midweek game. If someone else did, I apologize. That was not intended to be disrespectful. We just have all the other top 25 records, so I kind of assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, also pitching showed out on Tuesday night. Chris Billingsley got, I believe, his first start of the season, and we did not allow a single run.
It's like a Jane Austen type name right there.
Chris Billingsley?
Yeah. That's like, I don't know, that's from Emma or Pride and Prejudice or something, I swear.
Mr.
Sorry,
Billingsley?
continue. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Mr. Okay, yeah, if you say it with an English accent, then yes, it sounds like that out of Jane Austen. Pitching showed out. We did not have a single walk or single run allowed, and we finished the evening with 12 strikeouts. So that was kind of huge. And then the offense, after the really, really slow start a couple weeks ago in Hattiesburg, came out firing and scored a run in each of the first 5 innings. So it was just a really great showing on both sides of the ball and kind of set us up for this weekend really, really well. So this weekend, I'm not going to lie, I was somewhat concerned, and I know a lot of State fans who were far more concerned than I about Ryan McPherson's injury, sidelining him for this weekend, and Charlie Foster stepping up to make his first start, or his first weekend start since the second week of the season against Delaware. Foster absolutely stepped up. He set a career high in innings pitched and then limited them to just a single run. It was, I believe, a solo shot. So it was a really good showing. He went, I believe, 5 innings because I know it was a career high, but I believe it was 5 innings. And then it came down. The way the game ended was actually beautiful. So State was leading. We had a 3-run inning, took the lead. Ole Miss then bounces back in the 7th inning. They have a 3-run home run to go up by 1. And they come back from commercial after a scoreless 8th, the top of the 9th, and the comeback from commercial, and it's this home field camera pointed to the outfield light showing the rain falling. And I was watching this game with my family because we were at a wedding, and I said, this is huge. This is like the best thing possible for us because we have to have a run, and it's just going to be harder to pitch and field with the weather the way this is. And my mom was like, well, yeah, but then we have to play in it. And I said, it doesn't really matter because if we don't score, it's over.
Yeah,
like, it's one of those, like,
sure.
We just have to score, and then we'll figure it out when we get there. And we scored 2 runs in the top of the 9th, and the game winner was a Sean James triple to right field where the right fielder slipped. Like, egregiously slipped. Like, ate it. Did you see it? I assume JP did.
I'm busy looking at the spelling of Sean in the notes.
That is how his name is spelled.
And it's a new spelling of Sean for me. It's, there's...
Chone, for those of you who don't know.
Never seen that before.
The first couple times I said it, I pronounced it Chone.
I was reading your notes before you said it. That's what I was expecting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sean James. But the right fielder slipped egregiously, which doesn't actually end up affecting the play because Sean James ends up not scoring from third. But it was still, we woke up the people who had already gone to sleep at our Airbnb because we were screaming, which I felt bad about. But watching it and knowing that like I had kind of like called it, that it was like
Sure.
the weather's going to impact it, which it didn't technically, but emotionally it did because Ole Miss just looked defeated in the bottom of the ninth. Then Saturday comes, and Tomas Valinkis has his worst outing of SEC play, which was 5 innings pitched with 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 9 strikes.
Yeah, we got to be better, Tomas. Come on now.
Yeah, that was really kind of underwhelming. No, I'm kidding. It was, I mean, his first 2 outings were just absurd. And so, unfortunately, Saturday can be labeled his worst outing, but it was still a fantastic showing from him. And then the bats showed up as well. We had 3 home runs on Saturday. Kevin Maluski, Jacob Parker, Garrick Fry, they all had home runs. Jacob Parker, it was his first home run of the weekend, and he continues to impress. And Tucker, if you're still here, Tucker texted me, he was like,
He just.
oh, okay, cool. I'm going to finish Saturday, and then I'll check and see what he had to say, because I think it's about Friday.
Yeah.
But he texted me, and he was like, imagine, like, Jacob's so good. Imagine if we got in JoJo, too. And I was like, that's the kind of greed they talk about in the Bible.
Yeah.
Because JoJo is the higher-rated brother. He got drafted in the first round, so he's, he might be more talented. But I love Jacob playing for us, like, so I'm not gonna, suffer from that kind of greed.
JoJo gets to join the cool list of people that, if they played in college, would have played at state.
Exactly. Him, Austin Riley, is a big one. I can't think of any others because I haven't followed.
James Wood.
James Wood.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Who's committed to state?
Really? Who is that?
Plays for the Nationals.
Yeah.
He is a younger guy who currently looks like he could potentially be a bust. He's a power bat.
He was in the home run derby last year.
So he's always going to strike out a lot. The issue is he currently strikes out a little too much to
That's
even
tough.
like be a viable power bat. But
and then it was also a really big week, Saturday and Sunday, because Ole Miss came into the weekend ranking 11th nationally in home runs. And after the 2 home runs we gave up Friday, they did not hit another one the rest of the weekend. So that was really, really cool to see us kind of shut them down and take away what they do best. And then Tucker said in the chat he couldn't believe fans questioning going to Ben Davis. Hold on, I got to make it a little bit bigger because I can't see everything. Couldn't believe fans questioned going to Ben Davis in the 7th on Friday. That was absolutely the right call. I agree. I'm not questioning. I don't think I've questioned a single decision Brian O'Connor has made yet, because while some decisions may not have worked out, if I was in charge, I would also make decisions that might be the right decision and work. Like sometimes things just don't work out exactly like you plan. That doesn't mean they're not the right decision.
correct.
So I had not questioned a decision Brian O'Connor has made yet, and especially not that, because Ben Davis has been a great reliever and good closer for us this season. And then finally, Sunday's game, Duke Stone improved to 5-0, and then as impressive as the offense was, it was the most runs we scored all weekend. Pitching was the story. It was scary. It was very scary. They loaded the bases 4 times. Ole Miss did. We were constantly letting them get into scoring situations, and yet we held them to 1 run and stranded 14 guys. We left 14 guys out there, or our pitching did. So very impressive by them. Walks were tough. Singles were tough. But when it kind of came down to it, rubber meets the road, they were able to get out of really scary situations. So that was a credit to our pitching staff. O'Connor is now the 3rd consecutive coach to sweep Ole Miss in his first year. And we've now won 9 of the last series against Ole Miss. We're tied for first in the SEC with Texas and I can't remember the other team off the top of my head, so I'm not going to try and guess. But it's, I believe, a 3-way tie for first in the SEC.
Is it Georgia?
Probably.
It's kind of got to be Georgia. I don't know who else it could be.
I think we'll say Georgia, but with the caveat we could be wrong. But we're 7-2 in SEC play, which is the best start in SEC play since 2003. And currently we're on an 8-game win streak, including the 2 sweeps the last 2 weekends, and then a win over Southern Miss and a win over Jackson State. We're number 4 in the country now via D1 baseball, and we got a huge weekend this weekend against Georgia, number 5. They come to town for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, which is cool because we'll get to pack Duty Noble, maybe set the record for a Thursday game. I don't know what the records are for Thursday games, but we'll do that and then get to go home for Easter on Sunday, which is nice. We didn't get to do that last year, I believe we played an Easter game last year. But yeah, huge weekend upcoming, huge weekend in the rearview mirror. But that's baseball
Sure.
for you. That's the baseball recap. And then other sports, softball, their weekend is not done. They had a Saturday, Sunday, Monday game, so they have a rubber match tonight against number 23 South Carolina, which would be a huge win. They have not won a series yet in SEC play. They lost to Tennessee 1-2. They lost to Georgia 1-2. I think there might be one more series. Maybe they have. I could be mistaken. I can't remember the last series. I can't remember who we played last weekend, so I'm going to take that back because I just
Sure.
don't know if it's true. But it would still be a huge top 25 win here in Starkville. I might actually go to that game after this. We shall see. But yeah, a rubber match there, and there's ranked number 15 in Softball America. So that updated today. So that includes the 1-1. And then men's tennis, 2-0, 2 top 30 or 35 wins. Number 27 Ole Miss, number 34 Kentucky. Women's tennis unfortunately goes 0-2, loses at number 2 Auburn and at number 15 Florida. They still have a couple games left to bounce back and break that SEC to get more SEC wins this year than the last 4 years combined, which would be a super cool mark to reach.
Yeah.
But that's what I've got my eye on there. And that is your Mississippi State weekly update. Great week in Mississippi State sports. Great weekend with Madison Francis announcing her return, baseball sweep, men's tennis wins, and then softball the chance to put the bow on it tonight.
Sure. Thanks, Sanders.
No problem. We now have March Madness.
Yeah, we'll do a little March Madness discussion. We just had the second weekend of the tournament, so Sweet 16 and Elite 8, as the graphic so nicely displays. Pretty solid. Weekend, we had some blowouts. There are some fantastic games as well. One that sticks out the most, which we'll get to in just a minute, is the Duke-UConn game with the buzzer beater. But we'll kind of start with looking at the Sweet 16 games. Thursday, Illinois dispatches Houston. Houston still can't get over the hump in terms of, Kelvin Sampson getting his first championship. And I believe it would be the school's first as well, despite having some really great teams, in the late 1900s and just kind of throughout the years. But I don't know if they ever won it.
The late 1900s?
Well, I don't know the decade.
It is the
Okay.
late 1900s.
It's still just funny to hear it
1990s.
like that.
Yeah, like they had Phi Slamma Jamma.
They didn't.
I don't think they won it. I'm pretty
I'm
sure they
Let
got
me
knocked
fact
off.
check that.
They have been NCAA tournament runner-ups, 83, 84,
Okay.
and 2025.
Yeah,
That was
Um,
Hakeem Olajuwon.
correct.
And Co.
And they
Okay.
just couldn't ever get it done. Still can't get it done. Kelvin Sampson did confirm he's coming back. He says, I think he was like, I still love doing this. I'll be back
Is
next
it a
year.
retirement thing or somebody else, like
Retirement
better
thing.
job?
He's
Okay,
just getting
that's what I
older.
figured.
Old.
That's what I
So
figured.
people are wondering. And it's still, what's the word I'm looking for?
Kicking?
I mean, he's still kicking. They're pulling in good guys. It is tough because this year, they brought in a couple really good freshmen to add some juice, and even still, that wasn't enough to get them over the hump. And now, Kingston Flemings is going to be a one and done almost definitely. He'll get drafted top 10, so you're going to have to reload. They always do that, though. Purdue dispatches Texas on not a buzzer beater technically.
No.
They get the putback tip in by Trey Kaufman-Wren with 0.3 seconds left. So essentially, it felt like a buzzer beater, even though it wasn't.
I mean, I guess in that case, then technically the UConn game wasn't a buzzer beater either because
This
they
is
went
true.
in with 0.3
This
seconds
is
left.
true. Thank goodness. That's all I'll say. I was sweating it
Yep.
out, and I the one time I root for Purdue, and they almost do that to me. Arizona dispatches Arkansas. Fun game
That's
to watch.
a good way to put it.
But unsurprisingly, Arkansas's defense, which has not been very good,
Yeah.
just was. I mean, Arizona scored 109 points in a Sweet 16 matchup. Where Arkansas, played well offensively. They hit 88 points. They got a lot of what they wanted, but just couldn't keep up. And if I'm just kind of rattling through these before we get to some of the bigger games. So if any of
you're
y'all want
good.
to step in, just feel free to. Iowa continued doing their run, which did end in the next round to Illinois. But I think it's a big statement for that program in general in terms of one, what Bennett Sturts did coming from the D2 level to now he's probably going to be a first-round draft pick. But then also Ben McCollum as a coach and establishing that, he can do it at the high major level. And then also, he's not someone you want to have to face off against in March Madness because of how good of a coach he is, X's and O's wise, how good he is on a quick turnaround. He's going to be a guy, I think, that is going to for in the subsequent years is going to be someone you're going to want to pick with in March Madness. Similar to a guy we'll get to in just a minute, in like Dan Hurley. Like Dan Hurley has proven, and I'm not saying he's on the level of Dan Hurley. He's not earned that right yet. But Dan Hurley's so good on like these 2-day turnarounds and like these quick things of just like getting the guys ready to play. You know, getting his sets in general are just so good. They work against almost anybody. But like they just UConn, because even last year, right? UConn lost in the second round
to the national champions.
And that game went down to the wire. Florida had to storm back to win. I wonder if we're going to kind of see Ben McCollum get some of that, same respect down the line. Friday, Sweet 16 games. Alabama, Michigan was a pretty good game. Duke, St. John's was fantastic. Duke had to really fight back in that game. I believe St. John's was up double digits, and maybe even the second half at one point, though I could just be making that up.
I'm looking. It looks like the most they were up was 53-45, 55-45. So, yeah, they were up
Yes.
double digits in the second half.
And then UConn beats Michigan State and Mike Izzo. Tennessee beats Iowa State, and that was one of the ones that one hurt me almost the most because I don't think Tennessee actually was very good. We got an Elite Eight matchup a couple days later between them and Michigan just. I mean, even after Tennessee won that game, I texted in the chat like, "How much is Michigan's going to destroy this team? Like they might win by 20." And JP texted back in the first half ? And sure enough, going in half, Michigan was up by 20 against Tennessee. But Iowa State was just missing their best player. And it sucks for a group that's already on the older side. They have guys that are out of eligibility. Their shooter, Momcilovic, already announced that like he's going to the NBA draft. So that was kind of the last ride for that team. So it really sucks that because of the injury to Jefferson, we just never really got to see them give it their best shot. And so they go down to Tennessee.
And that makes Mississippi State the not 10th best team in the country.
Well, they lost in the Sweet 16, so if you want to say Iowa State was the best team in Sweet 16,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's what I'm saying. And we lost Iowa State.
Brings us to the Elite Eight. Saturday's games, both teams kind of, favorites handled business. Arizona wins by 15. They're just rolling. I mean, they're just a unit. The fact that this is, it's not how this, I don't know. I'm going to make the proclamation, even though I really shouldn't because I kind of dislike when people do this. But, like, Michigan-Arizona kind of feels like the title game. In terms of, like, whoever wins that game, I expect them to win the whole thing. But they face off in the Final Four.
Okay.
I guess is what I'm saying. I won't declare it the national championship, but I guess I'll say the team that wins that, I think, will win the whole thing.
Okay.
They're just playing fantastic ball. And then Illinois beats Iowa. The size Illinois has inside, and then what Keaton Wagler does. That one step-back three he hit, disgusting. You've crossed a guy and sent a guy flying when he ends up being the guy that inbounds the ball after your made three because he's standing under the basket when your shot goes in. Like, you have sent that guy flying.
That's a tough
It's
look.
all-time disrespectful. Which maybe, the plus for the guy is since he was all the way down there, he could grab the ball and get it back in bounds real quick and keep playing. But they handle business, which then leads to kind of the big event on Sunday, which we got the matinee, which was not good. It was just a splattering. Yaxel handles, Tennessee nice and easy. The whole team does. I mean, just destroyed them. 95-62.
Yeah.
I wonder, this just came to my head, and I really wish I'd done the research on it now. Like, what's the largest margin of victory in an Elite Eight game? Because that's got to be up there.
Oh, let's see if Google knows the answer. I'll look it up. If you
Appreciate it.
uh,
I'll talk about that game
Google's
real quick
name
then.
is Jim now.
Yeah.
Google Gemini.
Talking about them, Nate Ament, Tennessee, completely out on him as a prospect in terms of, like, lottery hype and whatnot. I just don't think he has the physicality or, like, the shot-making required. Because if you're going to be, like, a taller, like, slender guy that can't, like, enforce your will, you have to be really good at being a pull-up shooter, have a great handle to, like, help you get to your spots, and he doesn't really have any of that. So then it's like, okay, can you, like, kind of enforce your will from a physicality standpoint? Don't think he can really do that either. I know he's young, so, like, there's room to grow, but this was a guy that at one point was, like, he could go 5th overall after kind of the top crop of guys.
Yeah.
Nowhere near that anymore as a prospect, in my opinion. He's been lapped by multiple guys. Do you have an answer?
USA Today wrote an article about it. The largest margins of victory in the Elite Eight according to BetMGM. 1964, Duke 101, UConn 54. So they
Was
won
that
by
1964?
yes.
Okay.
1971, Villanova 90, Penn
Shout out
47.
Penn, man.
Shout out 1971 powerhouse Penn, 43 points, and then 1965 Princeton 109, Providence 69, 40 points. So 33, I believe might be fourth place. I'm think that's what they're saying.
And it's the largest. I mean, when did the tournament expand to 64 games?
That I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Like, I feel like it may be the largest in the 64, now I guess 68 team
it's
era.
little over 20 years ago.
Yeah. So kind of the modern era of the tournament is the largest, which makes sense. Typically by the Elite Eight, you
85.
have...
So it's all those were before 85.
Typically in the, Elite Eight, you've weeded out all the true blowouts. There may be a game where, like, a 15-point win or something like that, where it's like, that was never really that close. But to just get boat raced is pretty diabolical. And so then we can go to the main event of the weekend. And what honestly saved the weekend from, like, we just were lacking, like, a true fantastic game. We had some solid games, but there were, like, blowouts mixed in, a lot of not really close finishes. And then we get the Duke collapse where they were beating up on UConn. UConn comes out a half. Dan Hurley's got the boys fired up. They cut into the lead, get it to a manageable distance, and then they manage to go on another run. And it doesn't really look like it's going to be enough still because Duke has the ball up, too, with 10 seconds left. So theoretically, you're thinking, okay, they probably throw it in, and then UConn fouls, and we got to hope
Yep.
Duke misses a couple free throws. Nope, Caden Boozer turns it over. Braden Mullins hits the three to give UConn the 1 point lead with 0.3 seconds left or whatever,
think
and
it's
that's all
0.3.
she wrote. Duke can't even get a shot off. Great storylines from another John Shire collapse. I said it before the show started, but second year in a row, they lost. They've been eliminated in the tournament in a game in which at one point in the game they had a 95% chance or greater to win it.
That's crazy.
As Tucker maybe brought it up in the chat of Hubert Davis has more Final Four wins than John Shire. Recently fired UNC head coach. The picture of John Shire after with the little on his face. I don't know if you saw that. It is so good. I'll pull it up on my phone and show you in just a second. The shot was fantastic. I mean, it wasn't like just I called it a three to win it, but it's like a 35-foot. He's basically on the logo. Gets kicked to him. He has no choice but to rise and fire. Isaiah Evans, the player guarding him, didn't have his hand up, which I think is a little harsh just given the scenario. And he turned and flipped his hips. But his Instagram handle name is Get a Hand Up.
That was funny.
And, he didn't get his hand up. So just stuff like that. Dan Hurley going crazy, headbutting the ref with 0.3 seconds
and not
left.
getting a technical foul
A
called.
player ran onto the floor technically. No technical called.
Yep.
Just all-time stuff. And it happened to one of the most fun college basketball teams to hate in Duke. So you can't hate any of that. Y'all's thoughts on that outcome, that game? I'll try and find that photo if you hear this, Sanders.
I think it's that is funny. He just is giving up. The headbutt thing and the play running in the field, those are both hard because I'm gonna say I don't care, but also you shouldn't just let that go because of the situation. Because of the in hindsight, if it had been called properly in the moment, cool. I wouldn't have had a problem with that because you got to have better control of your bench. You got to have better control of yourself to not stare down the ref and bump in the head.
That's what I was gonna say. Is in fairness to Dan Hurley, should have still been a tech. He really did just get forehead to forehead with him. It's not like he ran up to the ref and was like,
But see,
wham, and
that's
just
the thing is
knocks him down.
I don't even know if you can say in fairness because that makes it sound like you're trying to say, it should have been a
Maybe
tech.
not in fairness, but I just want to accurately describe what happened. He didn't run
he just
to the
tapped
ref
him.
and
He
slam
toothless
into him
and
with his
hiccup
head.
and How to Train Your Dragon. Just a little.
It could have been seen as loving, honestly.
Yeah, he's thanking him.
Yeah.
It's a thank you.
He just really
Maybe
wanted
he does
stare
that to
into his
every ref
eyes.
after every
Thank you,
game.
ref.
We've just never seen it before.
Maybe. I mean, if I got that, I may be more likely to call it tech if the coach gets up into my face like that and tries to dink me. I'd be like, oh, he's about to kiss me.
But it's in the past. I just don't really in the future. You should call that properly. I do think, but those are also weird situations because is there time left on the clock? Is there not? It's so we had a kid get arrested at a state game 2 or 3 years ago because he stormed the court with technically 0.2 seconds left. So it's just one of those weird things where
Not just a kid. Come on now.
Sorry, I don't remember one of the bananas. Is that what you?
A banana.
A banana.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I thought you wanted me to use his name. I couldn't remember what his name was because it's somebody that we know or that we know somebody else.
He has the same name as a top 10 NBA player.
Crazy. Anyway, but it's just one of
all
those
time.
Yeah, there. Yeah.
one of those weird things.
Rest in
Um,
peace.
Sorry.
Also true.
Where it's just like I don't hate like not turning an eye, but like giving grace there because like what if there's no time left? Like the game's over.
Or should it have been
It's
a
just
tech?
like
Yes. Am I happy it wasn't a tech? Also, yes.
yeah, cool. I think I
Like-
agree with that.
Because the moment's somewhat ruined. It is ruined if they call a tech, and
Yeah.
then Duke hits 2 free throws and wins.
Yep.
Which you are right. You can't not call it because the moment isn't
The
ruined.
moment.
But
Yeah.
that being said, I'm now happy that in 5 years, when that shows up on Twitter, I don't have to go, man, what could have been?
Well, if you go to the comments, everyone will be talking about that
Yeah,
because everyone still talks about Mississippi State's COVID championship. That's all anyone talks. Not all, but
Mickey Mouse ring.
all the Ole Miss fans talk about.
Well, but that's like the haters.
Yeah, it is the haters, but
So-
there's always going to be haters. So,
Terrace Reed was also great in this game for
Yeah.
UConn. Was just a beast inside.
do we
If you
want to
wanna
talk
shout
about
him
the like, Caden Boozer? Like, it's tough, but I don't hate. He had 2 guys wide open. Like, I don't hate were there not 2 guys that he was trying to throw it over the guys?
Like, if he gets the ball over them, it's game over.
Correct.
Also,
so like it's
there's a video of Coach Shire
pointing. Yeah.
throw it to him.
So it's like I don't think anyone in the Duke team like you should just take the foul, but also like
It's
you're
not what he was told to do. And
Yeah.
and he made a split decision of he's wide open, and
Yeah.
I think it was a pretty good defensive play.
yeah.
Now, did he make the wrong decision? Sure, because if there were 10 seconds left, there was not even a threat of like taking a backcourt violation.
It's
Yeah.
awful coaching.
Yeah,
That's all.
it's really what it is.
Yeah.
Bad coaching.
I was just gonna like I don't think the players necessarily did anything like
He made the wrong decision.
okay.
It's under 10 seconds. You are in zero, as Jack said, zero danger of a backcourt violation, meaning the only thing that you can get called on is a 5-second closely guarded.
Yeah.
And even when he catches the ball, it's under 5 seconds. It's about 8 seconds, give or take.
Yeah, but if it's not even like he's in the middle of the court, so it's not even like he's trapped. Both people are in front of
And
him.
the only way
He
to
could
get a
pivot and pass
The
it
only
back.
way to get a 5-second closely guarded call also is to not try to make a move. And
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
make any kind of move, it disregards the count immediately.
Yeah.
So he 100% made the wrong choice. He also it's just bad fundamentals. Fundamentals of basketball, no jump passes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't jump. Don't
Because
leave
it
your feet to
telegraphs
throw a
what you're about to
pass.
do.
Yeah, there's only one way you can go
Yeah.
down to the earth, meaning you have to get rid of the ball in that margin of time. You can pump fake all you want, and I don't have to get rid of the ball. It's bad coaching. It's bad decision making in the moment. I don't think either of y'all mentioned it, but Evans, for him to not put a hand up to
Get a
close
hand
out on
up,
the
yeah.
shot, get a hand up.
Jack-
being
Jack
I do
did
think it is
mention it.
tough because like
Yeah.
he's pivoted to face Caravan, and the ball gets kicked back to Mullins, and he turns, and yeah, he should have put a hand up, but it wasn't like he just was standing there staring down Mullins and then was like, yeah, you're good.
Pointed at the spot like dude,
It was a bit more split second.
Yeah.
A hand up would have been nice.
Yeah.
For Mr. Get a Hand Up, Isaiah Evans.
But it's an egregious misstep, fundamental. That's what the game of basketball can come down to, though.
Yeah.
But under 10 seconds, there's just no reason to get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
Hold on to it.
Correct.
Get fouled. Get in the hand of your best free throw shooter.
It is. Also, it's just like, I mean, they'll be back next year. They're Duke, right? But this is now 1 year. You know, you don't win with Cooper Flagg and Kahn. It hurts.
and Malawak.
But it's like it happens. It's hard to win the whole thing, right? Like, great teams have to lose. But now you've done it a second time with another, like, you know, going to be a top 3 draft pick
Yep.
and other, you know, great supporting cast. And so now it's like, man, like, when are they going to get over the hump?
Yeah.
And it is Duke. Like, they're going to bring really talented groups. I'm sure next year there'll be another freshman phenom. I could go, I don't know off the top of my head, like, if we went to next year's recruiting class, one of the top 10 players or one of the top 5 players, I'm sure he's going to Duke, and he's supposed to be, like, the next big thing, and they hit the transfer portal really well. Like, they're going to be back, but also not only is it hard to win in March, it's going to be near impossible to win in March if you're not going to handle leads correctly and not handle late game situations correctly. Because there's always going to be a team then that's better coached and better prepared for those moments, and you're going to get beat out in those moments, like a Houston or like a UConn. So there's something they're going to have to work on, and something Shire's going to have to figure out. And it's a reason, while despite him getting a ton of buzz, is like he's the best coach in college basketball, or the best young coach in college basketball. Like, I'm not ready to crown him as that.
Yeah, number 3
Because
player.
he got, gifted a golden program, and hasn't really done anything remarkable with it yet. And the ACC's down, so like I don't necessarily really care that it feels like he's done what he's supposed to the past couple years in the ACC, and that's to win it. It feels like that's kind of a given. We got to have some tournament success.
Yeah. Welcome in, Daryl. We are just a couple of guys talking ball. We hope that you enjoy hanging out and talking ball with us.
Is like the top guy going to Duke?
Number 3, number 8, number 14, all 5 stars.
What's number 3's name? I'm just curious. It's considered a down 2027 draft class for the NBA.
Oh, 2026 or 2027
Well, I'm saying for the NBA, like 2027 for the NBA, because these guys will play, their next year at college ball,
And
get
they
drafted
go-
the next
Cam
year.
Williams is his name.
Gotcha. No idea.
There's one guy still uncommitted, but they're not listed. The number 1
Tyron
player
Stokes, yeah.
is not committed, but they're not listed as in the running for him. So they've got number 3, Cam Williams, and then they have number 8, Duran Rippey.
Rippey is kind of a
Only
fire basketball
6'1",
name.
point guard,
Interesting.
6'1", kind of on the smaller side.
Cool. Well, any other thoughts on the March Madness weekend?
No, we will have a big show Wednesday. Do we want to announce
Yeah.
how big it will be? We will be doing a Final Four preview in a special location. We'll be doing it for Humphrey Coliseum at Mississippi State. Hopefully, we've been told that we can, but I guess something can always change. Something could go wrong, but the plan is to do that from Humphrey Coliseum, which is going to be super exciting. No idea what that's going to look like. It'll look really cool, hopefully, and it's going to be a lot of fun because I'm the only one that's been on that court a lot. JP's been on that court once, and Jack, you've never been there, so it's going to be pretty cool to be out there. Someone suggested recreating the shot from the UConn shot. I don't know.
We can each take an attempt at it.
I mean,
Just
I'm
a
not
shot.
going to lie. If I'm on from half court, I can be automatic.
Oh, okay, that's bold.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
I was-
that's a statement.
I'm gonna okay. When
Put
I
a
say that,
percentage on it.
100%. No, I'm kidding. Like the last time I shot a lot of half court shots was like probably last basketball season was like a year ago.
Uh-huh.
I took 2 shots and made both of them,
So
and
do
I
I
put the basketball
Do
down.
we need to make him shoot 10 then?
Yes.
Just see.
I
what
probably
he
wouldn't
does?
make any,
Okay.
but like that was like I literally
automatic.
The
But
last time
you're
I-
not on.
The last
so.
time I tried to recreate a shot, I made it first try.
that was crazy.
And have yet to do it since.
Was that the
So
Jokic
it was
shot?
The Jokic
that was
corner
ridiculous.
fader, but
The overhead just.
I don't know. I struggled to form shoot from 35 feet. Like it would probably become a bit of a push.
Oh yeah, it is. It's
So-
all push, but you can have good form on a push. But yeah, that will be our plan. Is we will preview the Final Four, and I guess you'll do your weekly segments as well from Humphrey Coliseum.
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, it's not every day.
Yeah.
You get to bring the weekly segments to the floor of the Humphrey Coliseum.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
It's
It'll
gonna be a lot of fun.
Hopefully it works. I'm a little nervous about that.
Yeah.
Just audio wise.
I got new microphones that
I
I
would have not.
I got new microphones. I got the microphones that are what most people use for wireless microphones.
Oh, okay. So we're doing live demonstrations. Heard.
Yeah, I mean you can wear it and like dribble a basketball if you want. We can just stand there for an hour and just dribble while we talk. That would be really loud and hurt people's ears. But I just haven't used them, so I don't know how they work. So that'll be something we figure out between now and then.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do some tinkering before we go live.
Basketball in the hump is going to be a lot of fun. Let's see. Do we want to move on to your mock draft?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to open up
Jack Anderson's
PFF.
1.5 mock draft. Carefully constructed and concocted. You can turn the PFFs, on PFF you can turn and do like a sim. You can turn the slider like up and down on randomness, whatever. This is probably like a halfway in terms of like, probably not quite halfway in terms of like random or like, obscene outcomes. I did try and stay pretty rigorous. A couple caveats I want to make off the top. I went into this thing, I wasn't going to do any trades. So there will be no trades in
Okay,
this
so
mock.
boring. Got it.
There will be a place or two I probably will be like, if I was doing trades, I would have probably really looked to try and trade down here because I just didn't like the way the boards fell for those certain teams. But with that being said, I think we can go ahead and roll into it.
JP, let me move the camera to the right a little bit because you are entirely. There we go. That's going to
Big.
work better.
Welcome, JP. Welcome back. At number 1 on the clock are the Raiders. Despite what Dan Orlovsky would potentially say, I will have the Raiders taking Fernando Mendoza. I don't really have tons to say here. They need a franchise quarterback. They're in a spot to draft a guy that just put together one of the best, most complete quarterback seasons we've seen in college football. From didn't lose a game, put up great stats, won the Heisman, won the whole thing. Like, just wire to wire, great season. We've seen better statistical seasons for sure. But just
Far better. But I'd say, I don't hate one of the most complete.
Yeah, and I mean, just even what he did in the playoffs, just great performance after great performance.
Yeah,
Played-
showed up.
Played better after he won the Heisman.
Yeah.
Like
And he's a great personality.
Yeah.
first, I mean, I think he's textbook perfect 10 out of 10 kind of football character that you would ask for.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
he will have the only distraction he's going to have is any potential sponsorship deals or anything he would do.
I mean, he's got
which
to
he'll
play a lot of
get a ton
Fortnite.
of.
Got a lot of play a lot of Fortnite.
He doesn't have to do that. But he is not going to be a guy that is going to get into any kind of BS. There will be no national felon league that he'll be involved in, at least to this point. Now,
Maybe Vegas changes him.
True.
it depends on who he gets involved with, but I don't think he's going to have any family issues that may take away from his time. So I think, in terms of football character, he's a 10 out of 10, and you couldn't ask for any better than that. And you also like you said, Jack, I don't think you can ask for a guy that would be better suited to play quarterback in Las Vegas and not get distracted of Sin City.
Cool. Well, I'm just gonna keep it moving. I mean, that's I think every mock we've done has had that pick.
Correct.
So I feel no need to dissect it further. We get to number 2. It's the Jets. The Jets have this pick. They have the 16th overall pick, and I believe they are first up in the second round.
Yeah,
as well.
33.
So they have 3 top 33 picks, and they also have pick 44 as well. So they're in a great spot to accumulate talent to a roster that really needs some legit talent, partially because they drafted bad and partially because they, last season traded away a couple of their best players. Going to be looking defense here. Historically bad defense. It's not an all-encompassing stat, but one of the easiest stats to show it is they didn't get a single interception last year, which is historic. No team has ever done that before, played a whole season without recording an interception. With that being said, I'm not going to go defensive back here. I think it's edge rusher. It's a premium position, one of the most valuable positions in the NFL, and so you get your chance to take the top edge rusher on the board. And then the question comes to, who is that, in your opinion? Do you go the upside play with Arvell Reese, a guy who played a lot more off-ball linebacker at Ohio State, who potentially doesn't have the production at edge that you would hope, but he has all the physical tools to do it, or at least most of the physical tools to do it. Some people are a little concerned about his bend. Or do you go David Bailey, the guy who did play off the edge in college exclusively, who racked up 14 sacks last season, who put up pretty good numbers at the combine. And I think that's where I'm going to have them go here is David Bailey at 2. I've gone back and forth with every mock in terms of David Bailey here, Arvell Reese here. I think both are fine picks, but this time I am going to have them go David Bailey from Texas Tech at 2.
Love it. I know JP does. He does his random texts, and yapping occasionally, saying this or that.
Wait, so this would be a reach.
Last summer, wait, what?
This would be a reach at 2.
Wait, where did he? I thought he said just draft David Bailey.
Yeah, at 8. Whenever he texts that, it's always in reference to wherever the Saints are.
I see.
And I'll be candid, I guess. This is not my top edge rusher. I'd rather have Arvell Reese.
Okay.
but I kind of typically do my mocks as a bit more like predictive what I think is going to
Mhm.
happen.
Are you leaving Arvell Reese for the Commanders at 7?
I'll spoil it. He does not fall that far. No.
That's good. That's good. We might have had to,
Intervention there.
Yeah.
If that was the case.
for sure.
It's his mock.
This is true. It is my mock. Who are you to tell me what I
No
can
way.
and
The
can't do?
Commanders get Arvell Reese at 7 and then trade up to 8 with their 6th round pick.
Take Jeremiah Love.
And take Jeremiah Love and trade up to 9 with their 7th round. Yeah.
No, that does not happen.
Just playing Madden with his mock draft.
That brings us to 3, and it's the Cardinals. And I, probably more so than y'all, have stayed the course on I'd go tackle here, and I'd go Francis Mauigoa out of Miami. Just, I think he's a surefire right tackle in the league. Maybe he's not going to be a top 2, top 5 right tackle, but I don't really have any questions that we're going to be here in 3 years and be like, wow, that pick didn't really work out. Like, wow, they're not even going to potentially give him a second contract. Like, oh, wow, they already need to draft another tackle because it just went that poorly. I even think of watching A&M play him in the college football playoff, and our pastors that had been great all season. And it wasn't just him, and obviously the rest of the O-line played a large factor in that. But we just got nothing on that group, and they just shut us down, and he was a large part of that. So I have them going tackle at 3. They are a place where you could potentially see an Arvell Reese go, or a Reuben Bain, someone of that ilk. Maybe Ty Simpson at 3. They need a quarterback. I promise I'm not that high on Ty Simpson. But yeah, I have them going Francis here.
Yeah, I think I've had them take tackles, but maybe not. Now, you made me doubt myself when you said that you stay the course more than us, because now I can't remember. But
Definitely more than JP.
I'm fairly certain that I've had them take tackles in the 2 mock drafts that I've done.
JP is on which does make, their defense is not very good either. JP has been on more so maybe they should go defense here.
If they're going to draft at 3, I think they have to. If they're not going to find a trade, there's just no reason to draft a right tackle now. I think you can find a serviceable right tackle in the top of the 2nd round, and I don't think you pass on what is the blue chip section of this draft, which is those top 6 or 7 picks. So I don't think the defense is that good. Statistically, it was really, really bad last year.
Yeah. But it was also young. That's the reason I don't have them go defenses, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, is how much they've already invested in defense. I believe it's 4 of last year's top 5 picks, and then 2 out of the 3 of their first picks the previous years before that. So it's just a lot of draft capital they've already invested on that defensive unit, which, yes, it was bad, but that's kind of more to be expected when the team is younger. Right? So now, new head coach, he comes in, he doesn't like the pieces that they've invested in. That's kind of out the window. But if he comes in and he likes it and he sees the potential there, then I think offense is the direction.
Yeah, I also just really like Mauigoa. Some people are he's the best tackle in this class, but it's a weaker tackle class on the top end. So I still don't think he's that good. I think he's the best tackle in the class, but I do think he's also just a legitimately great tackle prospect. So
I feel like this is where the draft usually gets interesting, because I feel like Mendoza, defense, tackle is not a weird 3 picks, but I feel like you can get interesting here at 4.
it's pretty standard. Yeah, those being the top 3. You can get weird here. I don't really think I'm getting weird here, and this is where I have Arvell Reese going.
Thank you for not drafting Jeremiah Love.
They need a lot of defensive help. I do think they will flirt with the idea of drafting Jeremiah Love, but ultimately, Robert Saleh is there now, right? That's a great piece for him to work with, and I think if also there's somewhere I want Arvell Reese to go for him to realize his potential as an edge rusher, go play in a Robert Saleh defense and just go crazy. The physical traits are there all day from a explosiveness, a strength standpoint. Tennessee is a place where they could move him around some if they wanted to. If they still want him to, get some reps at off-ball linebacker, they could. That is another area of need for him. So I also like that bit of flexibility. If you don't want to, year 1, go take all your snaps at defensive end, at edge rusher. But that's where I have him going. I think it's a great pick by the Titans. He's a supreme blue-chip athlete, and you get him at 4. You got to be very happy with that.
Yep, I like it. I don't like Jeremiah Love there, so there's a lot of other direct. I mean, really, I'm good with Reese there. I'm good with Styles there. I mean, it's hard to say no to Caleb Downs just because he's one of the best football players in the class, but I think Arvell Reese is the move there. So that brings you to, or JP, you have any thoughts?
I'm fine with it. The San Francisco 49ers were solid. They had the least sacks in the NFL by a wide margin. They only had 20 sacks last year. Now they had the injuries to Michael Williams and Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and others, which definitely
Yeah, the three
did
best
not
players
help.
in their front seven.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be like,
Two of their best, and then their first-round draft pick.
Solid can't.
But those players aren't in uniform for the Tennessee Titans outside of Jeffrey Simmons,
This is true.
regardless. And I don't think any of the big signings they had this offseason moved the needle there defensively as much as, like, I think the signings maybe for the Raiders could move the needle for them defensively. So
Sure.
I'm fine with Arvell Reese here at 4. I think they get good value at it, but I fully understand a pick of Jeremiah Love because he can fill two, in my opinion, needs, both running back and receiver.
Sure. That brings the Giants to on the clock at 5. And this is where I have Jeremiah Love going. There's been some buzz here in
Interesting.
terms of, sure they have Scadaboo, sure they have Tyrone Tracy, but no one has any faith that Scadaboo is going to stay healthy. And also there's levels to this. If Scadaboo's a quality NFL running back, Jeremiah Love is the best running back prospect we've seen since Saquon, I would argue. I talked about this last time. I wasn't tapped in like that at 13 years
14,
old. Yeah,
2018.
Get in the weeds of trying to figure out, scouting and whatnot. But surefire every down back. What he can do as a receiver as well is just such a big piece. And then, if he was just like a mediocre receiving talent,
Is he that much better than Bijan?
see, Bijan was fantastic as well.
I mean, it's like, getting
splitting
nitpicky.
hairs
Yeah,
there.
splitting hairs.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic prospect. I'm not
That's a
going
good
to.
point.
He's a better prospect than Cam Scadaboo was.
He's in that tier for sure.
Yeah.
Whether you want to say he's better or not, but
I just don't want to get caught up in the tweet of this is the best prospect since. I'm not
Sure,
and I'm
sure.
not saying you are, but like there are people out there who are like unapologetically like and unwilling to accept it. Like, I mean, we said that about Bijan and he's pretty stinking good. So
Bijan is fantastic. I wish he was on my team, but it's okay. We have Bill. If Jeremiah Love was just like an average receiving running back, he would just still be such a fantastic prospect because of what he can do out of the
Yeah.
backfield as a running back straight up. And then you add how good his hands are and how good of a route runner he is. Like you have something special there.
Yeah.
He's a lot of people's best player in the draft class. You get him at 5. They're also kind of they're by no means a perfect roster. I mean, they didn't win very many games last year. But compared to the teams that have drafted previously, they have a lot less holes. Like even on the defensive side, right? Their defensive line is good. The defensive back field, is fine. They brought in Jermaine, the middle linebacker,
Tremaine Edmonds.
Tremaine Edmonds. Thank you. In free agency, like they have a lot of other pieces. Their Malik Neighbors there. They've already figured out their quarterback. Like you're not
they've got
letting
they've got
him
a tackle.
loose like they did Ashley Ginty last year in the Raiders dumpster fire.
Yeah.
They already have more structure, which I think is why I like it a little more and why they may be convinced to do this.
Yeah, and I like Love over a wide receiver here because I do feel like every wide receiver has some question marks.
Yeah.
And I think Jeremiah Love doesn't have the only question mark he has is he's a running back. So like how valuable is that? But as a player goes, he doesn't have any question marks. So I don't hate this pick at all. To do that and pass on kind of the need that everyone talks about, which is wide receiver.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they need receiver, at least at 5 for me. They signed Calvin Austin. They signed Darnell Mooney. They got Isaiah Likely, who's going to be a receiving threat tight end. You already have Cam Scadaboo. Malik Neighbors is going to return from his ACL. You already have the other tight end that everyone kind of loves. They re-signed Isaiah Hodgins. They re-signed Gunnar Olszewski. That Darius Slayton is still on the roster. There's too many mouths to feed. So I don't think you need to go to a receiver that can't be a running threat. So Jeremiah Love is still there on the board. I don't hate the pick for them whatsoever. He would be dynamic. And a backfield of Love and Scatabo would be dangerous. It's just a shame that, their quarterback's only going to play 4 games next year.
Yeah, he's gonna try and tackle someone as the ball carrier, and it's not gonna go very well.
You're talking about Theo Johnson? Was that the
Theo
tight
Johnson,
end?
yeah.
That name is familiar. That's who it was.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. At number 6, Cleveland Browns.
Have a ton of needs. I'll put it that way.
Yep.
I am gonna go offensive line here, and that's gonna be in Monroe Freeling, a
Wow,
riser, who definitely still needs some work, but at 6'7",
Correct.
big time framing. He needs to fill it out more, but just given the fact he's 6'7" and has these long arms, has a bit of a wider base, like I have no concern that he's gonna struggle to fill it out. And that's kind of his biggest issue currently too, is because of the lack of size, he struggles to anchor a little bit as an offensive tackle. But I'd much rather that be the issue than this guy has really stiff hips. This guy's can't get out of his stance. This guy's really slow. Like, he can't get downfield if he needs to. I think if he adds weight, the anchoring issues will improve. The Browns went through a big time. What's the word I'm looking for?
Offensive line revamp.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. They let a lot of older pieces go. They're clearly trying to get younger and move in a new direction. I think this is a good start to that.
Yeah, they brought in Zion Johnson, the guard from Los Angeles, who I laid out the optimistic view of him last Monday.
Yeah.
And I'll recap it quickly. He was really bad for the Chargers last year, but he was also surrounded by bad offensive linemen, and offensive line, it is hard to be a really good player surrounded by bad players.
Sure.
They tend to either work together and elevate each other or work together and tear each other down. He's also just now coming off his rookie contract, I believe, and so that's the standard until I feel like more recently with guys like Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt, is that it took guys or even Tristan Wirfs at the Buccaneers, like who were really good in their first or second year, Penei Sewell being fantastic. It takes guys like 4 or 5 years oftentimes at offensive line to figure it out and play well. And so if Zion Johnson is the more of that late 2010s offensive guard prospect to where you draft him and then he kind of figures it out at the end of his rookie contract or the start of his second contract, then the Browns made a great move. They also brought in Elton Jenkins from Green Bay, Mississippi State legend Elton Jenkins, who can do everything inside of the tackles, guard, center. And so, yeah, I don't hate that at all. They still have Tevin Jenkins on the roster, and so if you bring in Monroe Freeling, I mean, he's probably duking it out at right tackle with Titus Howard, who they brought in that trade with Houston.
Yeah, it's just an interesting spot because, really, is it a couple picks high for Monroe Freeling? Sure. I'm not doing trades. But also, I think one of the positions you are willing to go, like a couple picks high on, is potentially tackle. The best players on the board currently are all defensive players. They're pretty set on that side. Obviously, if you just want to go best player available, sure, right? And I like the top wide receivers, but I don't love them. So I don't like. I'd be fine if they went Cardinal Tate at 6.
Yep.
I would not be like, I can't believe Cardinal Tate's here at 6. I can't believe the Giants didn't take him at 5. Like, we have to go run this to the podium right now and take that guy. I don't think he's like that level
The
of
Browns
a
are
prospect.
so buns, bro.
So I have them going Monroe Freeling at 6.
They're so buns. They're in just. There's nothing. I'm sitting here trying to think of an optimistic future look, and I just can't because I don't think they have the quarterback situation figured
Sure.
out as much as I'd liked Shador last year. Shador was really bad this year. Their quarterback play was really bad this year. I think maybe by the time they figure out quarterback, if they ever, it'll be 3 years from now. Now the defense is old, and now the defense is going to be bad.
Yeah, Miles Garrett's declining and still making a ton of money, and
Carson Schwarzenegger will still be young, though.
This
well,
is
he'll be
true.
about to get paid.
True.
potentially.
It's just
Denzel Ward
it's
would be
really
old.
hard.
Yeah.
For me to look at their future optimistically, and on top of that, they have to pick at 6 instead of getting to pick top 5.
Yeah, there's no reason to even if they make the right pick here and you love the pick, be excited that they're going to actually
They
do anything
still
with it.
have the $65 million or whatever for Deshaun Watson they have to pay this year too.
Yeah, I can be optimistic, but I've already done my optimism for them, and it does make sense here because the Browns are expected to go tackle or wide receiver in some order, right?
Yeah.
You go Carnell Tate or maybe Mekhi Lemon at 6 if he's your wide receiver 2, and Tate goes in the top 5, and then you go tackle at the back end of the first round, or you go tackle here at 6. Maybe Maui Noah falls to 6, or maybe Freeling is your guy, and then you go wide receiver like Denzel Boston.
Sure.
Maybe the injury concerns push Tyson down to there. I don't expect it, but like
It could.
a month ago, that's kind of where he was going. Was like at the late teens, early 20s. So tackle, wide receiver, tackle, somewhat something like that.
Yeah. That brings my Commanders.
Yep, the helmet up there,
Yep.
way up there.
Puts them on the clock at 7, and it's got to be defense, especially with Jeremiah Love off the board. I would still want it to be defense even if Love was there, but I think that's the one way. Like if we, for example, we go wide receiver here, I'm not talking myself into that pick. If we go Jeremiah Love at 7, I can talk myself into that even if I wanted defense, if that makes sense. And I do have us going Caleb Downs here at 7. Not a premium position, but for me, drafting right here between Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. Sonny Styles as a middle linebacker isn't necessarily a premium position either. We have a couple quality linebackers on the team in Frankie Louvu, and then we brought in Leo Chenal from
Kansas
Kansas
City.
City. Thank
Yep.
you. That being said, if you drafted Sonny Styles here, he would 100% play. You know, he can even rush off the edge a little bit, not full time, but like he's been productive there. He can blitz. He can do a ton of things for you. That'd be a great pick. But I'm gonna go Caleb Downs. I think we possibly, since Caleb Downs has been so great for so long, are at the part of the draft cycle where you almost find yourself down on Caleb Downs all of a sudden. Like
Yeah.
even me, like I've been at times being like, are we really talking about Caleb Downs like top 10? But it's like, I think it's just a bit of prospect fatigue there with Caleb Downs. He's legitimately great. I mean, we've even heard recently, like, are we sure Caleb Downs is safety 1? And it's like, how are we here all of a sudden?
Who's saying
Multiple
that?
people. Because Dylan Thieneman also, I mean, to be fair, Dylan Thieneman had a great pre-draft process. I'm still nowhere, close to that.
Yeah. Caleb Downs has had a great 3 years of college
I
football.
don't think it's guaranteed he's going to be the best safety in his class.
Caleb Downs is not guaranteed.
I don't think we're guaranteed.
I
he's
don't
the
think
best
anyone
safety.
is guaranteed the best player, and no one is ever guaranteed unless you want to say like Myles Garrett was
I
guaranteed.
think
but
Jeremiah Love's going to be the best running back in this class. I think that's guaranteed.
I feel pretty good about that.
that's probably fair.
I feel good about Fernando.
I
But
think
it's not a guarantee.
that's not a
Sure.
guarantee. I think that like it's hard to guarantee a player being the best out
You're
of
setting
his
yourself
class.
up to get old take exposed if you start guaranteeing stuff
Correct.
in the draft process.
And so, like, I just think it's ridiculous that Caleb Downs was, for all of last year, he was the best draft prospect of the 2027 class. 2026, excuse me. That's the year we're in. Like, for all of 2 years ago, Ohio State's championship season, he was the best prospect in this class. All of last season, he was the best prospect in this class. I think it's like Aaron Donald not winning the Defensive Player of the Year's awards that he should have won.
Yeah.
It's because people get tired of saying the same thing over and over again. So you got to come up with something new to say, just because you're bored.
Yeah, I do wish that the Commanders weren't at 7 and a little higher, so we could get a Arvell Reese or like a David Bailey.
Not Ruben Bain,
No, I'm the arm length thing. I'm sizeless, I guess.
I guess.
And that's not me being biased. You'll see it with Cassius Howell too. Like he's fallen throughout this thing for me too in terms of where I would draft him because of the arm length. But yeah, for the Commanders, just why. I mean, the defense sucked last year. You could have turned on any game and watched it, and it sucked. Horrible in coverage. We were also just really bad at containing and tackling, and that's one thing I think Caleb Downs is best at is when runs do kind of spill outside the tackle box, he's really good at cleanup, and he's just a great downhill tackler. He loves to play downhill. I think it's a great fit in that regard.
But you would not talk yourself into it if they went wide receiver here. You'd
No.
be upset.
No, I'd be upset.
Interesting.
I don't think. I mean, we need a wide receiver in this draft at some point.
Wide receiver 1 right now is Terry McLaurin,
Dog.
who was hurt last year and
Correct.
is now
He's 30.
30.
31
Wide
maybe.
receiver 2 is Traylon Burks.
I mean, that's the first round draft
I
pick.
disagree.
Traylon
Wide receiver
Burks.
2's
Luke McCaffrey.
Diami Brown.
Jamie Brown is
Oh,
back.
excuse me. Okay.
Which was, I think, an underrated sneaky pickup considering kind of the relationship he was building up with Jaden Daniels towards the end of his rookie season. Still not a great wide receiver, too. I'm not trying to say that.
Got it for only $3 million too.
Correct. That's why it's good value.
It's great value.
But I don't think going wide receiver drastically helps our team.
Yeah.
Like potentially going Jeremiah Love does, or like adding an elite defensive talent does.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just thinking through the way I would think about it. Or you also lost Zach Ertz as well.
Correct.
Retirement, or did he just
I think
leave?
it's just a free. Like,
He tore his ACL at the end of last
yeah,
season.
he missed time.
I just like
We got our boy
Jaden Daniels had a fantastic rookie
Josh
season.
Mine.
He had a healthy Terry McLaurin. He had Zach Ertz.
I
And
got a really big counter.
What's up?
Go watch the last 2 Super Bowls.
Are you talking about like
Just go
the
watch the
defense?
last
Yeah,
two
yeah. I
Super
see.
Bowls,
So
yeah.
you're saying the
Yeah.
defense is what wins?
NFC teams
Yeah.
as well. 2 teams that you played during the season as well.
Just like if we get a wide receiver, we start losing games, 35 to 28 instead of 35 to 21.
Yeah.
And also I like Jaden enough. I think Jaden can, in the short term, make stuff work with at least, a suboptimal group of weapons. And, once again, and then we'll move on to the Saints. I expect an offensive skill position player to be taken in the 3rd round if we don't take one here.
Y'all don't have a second round pick?
We don't. No. Our second round pick is manifesting in Laramie Tunzel.
Ah, okay.
Who? That was a good trade. Not exactly the second round pick we shipped off to the Saints for Lattimore.
Yeah.
That was not.
Was that
good.
last year's second rounder
It was a 3rd round pick.
3rd rounder? My bad. Yes.
from last year?
Still not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, last year.
Lattimore no longer in the team.
No, we cut him.
Tough.
You're correct.
All right, Saints at 8.
Yeah. First, I'm going to ask, what would you do here? Like you're sitting here, you're saying draft. You're doing your bit draft.
Carnell Tate. That's who you've been saying is if Carnell Tate is at 8, and y'all don't take him, you're gonna be mad. There he is, JP. He's sitting there.
Draft Carnell Tate.
You're going to be mad then. I'm going to take a guy I'm very high on, and I mean most people are. I'm not like on the norm. Spencer Fano. Spencer Fano. Sonny Styles goes here at 8.
Wow, hot take. Highest guy left on the board, taking it 8.
Yeah, I know. It's not necessarily like the biggest of needs. I mean, I think Carnell Tate would be a great fit here. Demario Davis is kind of probably the team's best linebacker right now. No,
Demario Davis is a Jet.
then my
They've got Pete
Google
Werner.
lied to me
It'd
then.
be Caden Ellis.
Caden
Caden
Ellis,
Ellis.
excuse me. So I lied. This is actually a huge need then.
Not really.
You don't think so?
Caden Ellis was a green dot for Atlanta. If Sonny Styles is going to play Mike,
Renowned football team, Atlanta Falcons.
he can't. Well, he was actually really good.
I
A
know,
former
I'm just
Saint.
messing.
Caden, who was a former Saint?
Caden Ellis, yes.
So he
Former
was a Saint and then a Falcon and now back to the Saints.
Correct.
So how old is this brother?
We signed him for 3 years, $33 million. I think he's like 28, give or take.
Yeah.
But he will be our green dot next year, more than likely. So I don't think it's a huge need. We would like defense.
He is 30.
But if we're going to get defense, I think we'd have to get an edge rusher. I'd rather that or a defensive back with the loss of Alante Taylor.
All that being said, this is really a best player available pick for me.
Sure.
And you're getting someone that there may be contention for the green dot then, but can blitz, can rush the passer off the edge, was fairly productive in the small percentage of snaps, albeit he did it for Ohio State. And you're just bringing in supreme athlete, supreme talent, someone who's great in coverage, would find his way on the playing field, shores up that defense in a great way.
Yeah, you're not going to find me hating on Sonny Styles. Central Michigan legend,
Sure.
Sonny Styles. He was, he led the team. He led that Ohio State defensive tackles last year. He was the fastest linebacker in the 40. He was also jumped the highest out of any linebacker in the vertical. So I mean, I'm not gonna be upset with the pick, but I don't think it addresses a huge
Sure.
need.
I'm trying to figure that article I saw that had Demario Davis as a New Orleans Saint.
Yeah, he was He was. Now he's
Yeah.
back with his team that drafted him, the New York Jets, on a 2-year deal.
Oh well.
At Kansas City at 9.
This is where Cardinal Tate goes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
They need defensive back, but the way, which is risky, sure, but the way the board shakes out, I think they feel good about getting a defensive back with their second pick, in the first
29?
round, 29. And so they're going to get the weapon for Patrick Mahomes when he returns from his ACL here. Just a solid, surefire wide receiver 1 in this draft class in the terms of like, yeah, he maybe doesn't have like the S tier potential of like, guys like Jamar Chase, getting drafted as high as he did. But he's just a fantastic downfield separator. I think he's really good at like setting up the DB, like for when the ball arrives to put himself in a prime position, like these like last minute adjustments to give himself just a little bit more space. And then he's fantastic at the catch point, really physical. If he gets his hands on it, you just kind of feel like he's going to reel it in. And so it's just a really nice, explosive weapon for Mahomes. And it's something that they've tried to find him in previous years, and they've had varying success. You bring Xavier Worthy, he's supposed to stay healthy. Potentially Rashee Rice could be that, but then like Rashee Rice can't, stay on the field because of off-the-field issues. And so I think they're finally like, you know what, I've had enough. We're going to truly invest. We're not going to halfway invest. We're going to dive all the way in and try and get him a legit wide receiver 1.
Well, did you mention that they spent a first rounder on Xavier Worthy?
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah, but it's like I think there's levels to it in
Yeah,
terms
yeah,
of
for sure.
a top 10 first-round draft pick, and then
Right.
Xavier Worthy was like pick 29. Did he
Something
pick
like that.
30?
Yeah. Something like that.
The way I continue to see is it's in the franchise eyes a once in a lifetime opportunity to draft a top 10 talent wide receiver. They will never, in their eyes, be in this spot ever again until Mahomes is gone. So if the opportunity's there, I don't see them, passing up on it. If they really like Carnell, Jordan, or Mekhi Lemon, so I don't hate the pick. You look back at the previous drafts, and you say, well, they already drafted the first round receiver and Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. I think it's a completely different story because if you look at it in this year's draft, they drafted Casey Concepcion twice. Are you fully sold on Casey Concepcion? Not necessarily.
No.
You're pretty
Correct.
sold on an Ohio State wide receiver who's 6'2", who's elite in the vertical passing game, and just brings a completely different element that Kansas City has never had a receiver that can kind of bring the element that Carnell Tate can, which is a contested catch guy while also being a vertical threat.
Well, we're
Yeah.
just going to ignore that DeAndre Hopkins was on their team for a little bit.
He caught a big touchdown at the Super Bowl, but that was well past his years of prime.
I will say this is like a weird draft class, especially in the recent wide receiver runs. Last year, around here at 9, Tedero McMillan went at 8.
Yeah.
Emeka Buka went at 19.
Tet was a 1,000-yard receiver.
That's what I'm.
Buka was
But
gonna be
I'm
Rookie
saying
of the
that
Year.
Carnell Tate, I don't think is in 3 out of the last 5 draft classes. He's wide receiver 4 probably.
I would draft him.
He's
wide
probably-
receiver 1 last year.
Really
I would probably have him at 2 last year
behind.
Tet.
He's in a. I
Well,
think he's right there.
sorry,
in the
this is
debate.
technically counting Travis Hunter as a wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Technically.
Sure.
But yeah, that's fair. I'm lower on Carnell Tate, and I feel like this wide receiver class feels a little bit more like last year's quarterback class to me, to where it's like kind of a step down from what we've seen in previous years.
I think it's definitely not my favorite wide receiver class, or even close to of recent years. But I think wide receiver is being treated close to what tackle is in terms of they're just wide receivers are, even if you don't love them, they're going to get taken high, and they're kind of going to get pushed up boards, and someone's going to end up being like, we need one bad enough that this is our guy, and we like him enough.
Yeah.
And I do like Carnell Tate a lot. I just don't think he's like an elite wide receiver prospect. Bengals at 10.
Yep.
Defensive help, obviously, it's the Bengals. I haven't going Ruben Bain here. This is where kind of maybe the small Ruben Bain slide ends. Technically don't need edge help. You drafted Shamar Stewart last year, but he didn't really produce. You brought in the guy from Seattle,
Boye Mafe.
So like you have pieces there, but you lost Trey Hendrickson. You were also 32nd in rush yards allowed per game last season, and something I'm confident Ruben Bain is going to do is set the edge well. And even he's big enough you can put him inside a little bit on the interior. I think he can help shore up the run game. And so that's kind of why I have them going Ruben Bain, even if they've already recently invested in edge rushers.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, I could see him going Thieneman here if they fall in love with him. If he really does rise that much, they would love if Sonny Styles would fall here. If, say the Saints are like, yeah, this isn't the biggest fit, we like him, and then obviously the Chiefs aren't going to take him at 9, and then he ends up here at 10. I think they jump all over that too. But this is where Ruben Bain goes. The short arms only pushing.
I think
down
it's funny.
So far.
Last football or halfway through last season, I did a mock draft and had Ruben Bain slide all the way into the Bengals. I think technically at 11 at the time, but it's just funny to think like that was halfway. That was in the middle of early November probably.
And I was like, that's insane. He's not
Yeah.
falling that far, and here he is.
And yeah, here he is. I think that my mock draft that I did to start our mock draft series, I had him here. I think JP, did you also have him here? That's what I thought. So that makes 4 of the mock drafts that we've done in our group mock draft. I think we also had him here.
It
So-
just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good fit.
and he's the last.
Edge rusher.
He's the last edge rusher anywhere close to this tier.
Yeah.
And so if he's only going to fall so far because of that right there. I mean, the next guy is
Akeem Messidor, teammate.
yeah. So
Which I wouldn't hate that fit for the Bengals, just not at 10. Like if they were drafting in the
sure,
Early
he's
20s.
he's a good player. I'm not.
yeah,
The
and he
drop-off
would
isn't
also I think
massive,
fit their
but,
timeline.
who knows what the Bengals' timeline is, man?
Depends on if Burrow's healthy or not.
Well, yeah, it's technically win now, but they don't really do a lot of winning now. So
Right.
that's kind of my thing. Dolphins at 11, 2 massive needs, both on each side of the ball. They mirror each other. It's defensive back and it's wide receiver. I have Mekhi Lemon going here. I'm a Mekhi Lemon guy. I've even toyed with him being my wide receiver 1. And the reason I have them taking Mekhi Lemon is Malik Washington's their wide receiver 2. And I just think I cannot fathom them bringing in Malik Willis and then not helping him out in some fashion. Now, they have 2 first-round picks, so maybe it's defensive back here and then back in the first round, it's a wide receiver. But here I have them going Mekhi Lemon, getting another weapon for Malik Willis. You just like you have. Maybe I'm just like you have to. Please help the guy out, please.
Yeah.
So I have them Mekhi Lemon at 11.
I mean, I'm not sold on Mekhi Lemon yet, but I don't hate it as well. I feel like he's a little bit smaller, so he's like what 5? Is he 5'11"?
5'11" and 1/8 of an inch, 192 pounds. Same weight as Carnell Tate.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty compact and he plays pretty physical for his size and is, I would argue, pretty strong at the catch point for his size.
He's nearly identical size to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like we're talking a pound and a 1/8 of an inch difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I don't hate that. I'm down with it.
This makes the Cowboys very happy because that means cornerback 1, Mansour Delane, is right here for them to take at 12, and that's what they're going to do. JP, would you like to read off your little spiel yet again, or some version of it?
Spiel. Oh, of the Cowboys defensive backs.
Yes.
I thought you were talking
From
about
last
Mansour
season.
Delane. I was
No.
like, I don't have
Why-
a Mansour
why
Delane
they
spiel. I do have a
need-
fun fact for Mansour Delane.
Okay, cool.
Which I can read again.
Is this the one about him
Yeah,
playing
we'll-
yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't want
get
to spoil it. I
Don't
don't
spoil it. But for Cowboys, they do need defensive back desperately. They gave up the most pass plays of 25 or more yards last season, the second most yards per play. Their DBs allowed 29 touchdowns, which was the most in the NFL. They had just 5 interceptions by DBs, which by technicality was the worst in the NFL, but that's only because a team with 0 interceptions isn't tracked because they didn't rank in interceptions, the New York Jets. And, of course, if you recall last fantasy season, you kept checking your bench or your starting lineup, and you kept looking down the weeks and seeing when does my receiver play the Dallas Cowboys. When does Tyquan Thornton play the Dallas Cowboys? Because I need him in the lineup that week. They were the worst against receivers when it comes to fantasy football perspective, giving up the most points per game to wide receivers.
Couldn't have said it better myself. There's reason I let you say it. I think it's a home run fit and a home run pick. And that takes us to the Rams at 13, who have this pick from the Atlanta Falcons for trading out of the first round last season. But the Rams are in a great spot here in terms of they can really draft forward thinking, right? In terms of our roster's pretty complete this year. Who can we take that, if an injury happens, can be ready to step in and play? Who's someone that in a couple years is ready to fill in when we can't pay everyone and, someone has to, we have to let someone go because of cap space. So I'm going Spencer Fano here. Technically listed as a tackle out of Utah, but he's been worked out by different teams all across the offensive line. And so maybe he's someone that can be a future tackle for the Rams. Maybe one of their tackles goes down this upcoming season. He has to step in. Or maybe he slides inside down the line. But I think it's just a good, insurance pick by them, which maybe seems insane at 13. But I do think there's also long-term upside there. So it's not purely just like a depth piece. But yeah.
Yeah, Rams haven't invested a third-round pick or higher on offensive line since 2023. So that would be a first in a couple years. They also have only drafted one first-round pick since they drafted Jared Goff, and that's Jared Verse. So this is out of the ordinary for the Rams having this first-round pick. Fano, like you said, is a guy probably going to move into interior. He started left tackle 3 years ago and then started 2 years at right tackle for Utah and allowed 0 sacks last year, which of the tackles and guards that are in this draft, specifically the tackles, he's the only tackle to not allow a sack last year. Everyone else
that's
allowed
impressive.
at least 1 sack.
I mean, you're a Fano guy.
Yeah.
So Ravens at 14. I think you just need another weapon for Lamar Jackson. You could also potentially go Ioane here. Ioane.
It
Awane.
was changed this week,
Oh,
so
gosh.
it was Iwane.
Ioane.
It's now Uwane.
Ioane.
You want it?
Uwane.
The guard out of Penn State. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But I haven't been going Jordan Tyson here. There's extensive injury history, and that's the reason he's the third wide receiver off the board realistically. You talk to a lot of people, they were like, if he did not have those health concerns, he, by tape and by production when he's healthy, is the best wide receiver in this class. He just looks really good in a Ravens uniform. If I just picture it, it looks like he looks like a baller. And so I have them going Jordan Tyson at 14.
Yeah, 6'2", 203. Had 8 touchdowns last year, but the injury history is extensive. Torn ACL 2022, broken collarbone in 2024, and a hamstring in 2025. It would be kind of funny if he was drafted by the Ravens because he was coached by Super Bowl MVP Hines Ward, Hall of Fame Steeler at Arizona State. So he would be going from the Steelers to the Ravens. Probably one of the biggest rivalries in football. He would also be picked higher than his brother. His brother was the 20th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft by the
I
Cavs,
forgot, yeah.
Jalen Tyson.
He's having a breakout year. He's been phenomenal for the Cavs this year.
That's sick.
So he would have his leg up on his older brother, which I'm an older brother, so I don't know, but I would assume younger brothers love, any chance they can get to have a leg up on their older brother.
100%. Bucks at 15. Then to me, you got to address the front seven in some fashion. That's what I think their biggest need is. There's not another linebacker that I feel comfortable taking here at 15. And so I have them going Akeem Mesidor, who, in my opinion, is the next best edge on the board. He's older. I don't think that's too big of a concern for them because they're really trying to win right now with what they have with Baker. And, Todd Bowles is fighting for job security in a sense. So, they just need win-now pieces, and I think he fits that really well. He's I would hope he would be polished, but he is a polished pass rusher. He's good in both facets of the game in terms of defending the run and stopping the pass. So I think it's a pretty safe, a pretty a B plus type pick here.
Yeah, they have a lot of older pieces. Chris Godwin is a big piece, and he's getting up there. Baker Mayfield is not up there because he's a quarterback, but he is over 30 now, I believe. They got Vita Vea drafted in 2018, so he's probably 29. Alex Anzalone, he's on his third team now. Saints, Lions, and now Bucks, so he's probably older.
He's well over 30.
Is he well over 30?
Well
Thank
over
you.
30.
So this is a big opportunity. He's 31. Maybe he's almost 32. I'm
That's
not good.
well over 30.
Yeah, I mean, in the NFL, as soon as you hit above 30, that clock, starts really ticking.
Yeah, true.
Um,
I don't hate this at all. I think that they are absolutely a team that Messidor works for their draft or their winning window, their Super Bowl window.
yeah, I mean, Yaya Diaby led him in sacks last season, and then in second was Vita Vea on the inside. So just not a deep edge rusher group at all.
Yeah, leading sacker, Diaby, as you mentioned, just 7 sacks last year.
Yeah.
I still think they are a really fun potential landing spot for like R. Mason Thomas or the Auburn guy whose name I'm
Keldrick Falk.
Thank you, Keldrick Falk. Those are two guys who I've liked their fits with Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Falk's only issue is now he's getting talk about moving to defensive tackle. I loved it when he was like not having that conversation because he was a run stopping edge rusher. Vita Vea was a run stopping interior defender. They were going to clog up the middle, and then that secondary you bring back Antoine Winfield Jr. And then you've got some younger guys there that you like. It could be like that defense could be fantastic. Could still be really good, but it's just a different fit.
Yeah. That's fair. I'm low on Keldrick Falk, so.
Is the 15th pick by the Bucks the least interesting pick
It's
in the first round?
I think it probably is. It feels like an interlude. I'm not gonna lie, between the top half and the bottom half of the
It
draft.
does, because the Jets at 16 is very intriguing.
Yeah. And we can get into that. And I have them taking Ty Simpson here yet again, which I don't think is the most likely outcome. But Ty Simpson is going to go in the first round. I feel very confident in that. I won't guarantee it because, guaranteeing is stupid. And since I'm not doing trades, there's not very many teams left. Maybe the Steelers at 21, but I have no confidence the Steelers are going to take a quarterback in the first round. And so I have them going here at 16. And also, I get the theory of, we have so many draft picks next year, we can just draft a quarterback next year. There's no job security in that building right now.
Nope.
There's no, I don't think they really can think towards next year like that. So if they like Ty Simpson, I think they may go ahead and try and go get their guy. It may not be this high. Maybe they have intel that, oh, hey, Ty Simpson actually, isn't going to go until late in the first round. We can trade back up. Or, hey, maybe he actually isn't going to go in the first round at all. We can get him at the top of the second round. But yeah, I don't know how Aaron Glenn is sitting there going, yeah, we can be bad again this year, and then just draft a quarterback next year. You won't be there probably to be the person making that draft pick. So that's why I have them going Ty Simpson here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know how you can get by with the quarterback play that they had last year. And as much as I like Geno, I don't think Geno's going to dramatically improve off of his numbers last year where he led the league in interceptions. That being said, Ty Simpson, I'm completely fine with the pick. I also they have the picks next year. Well, why can't they just, if they like a quarterback better, pick another quarterback next year? And then Ty Simpson can go down the Josh Rosen route and, be in insurance or wherever Josh Rosen is now.
He'd be a pretty good insurance salesman, I think.
Yeah, he's got the face for it, for
I feel
sure.
I feel like he'd be more of the Mac Jones.
I think he'll go into coaching before then. Because his
100%.
dad's a football coach for UT Martin. So I'm fine with the pick of Ty Simpson. Sadly, his career would be over.
Yeah, this is not a good fit for Ty Simpson. As
No,
much as
not at all.
I don't dislike it for the Jets.
It's not a good fit for anybody.
I don't see how.
Well, really, there's not a good pick for the Jets to make a quarterback because they're just dooming anyone they take. They have the kiss of death.
Yeah, I don't see. Ty Simpson doesn't have the body to play football in New York, and it gets very cold and very windy, and it seems like every one of the last 8 games of the season for the Jets are just awful weather. He's not a great fit for that.
Yeah.
And
Does it feel that way for the Giants too?
yeah,
Okay.
but I think with
I didn't know if it was they play in the same stadium, so it would have been really funny if you said no. It's like it's just the Jets.
I mean,
Like-
they do just have some air about them, man.
Yeah, something about them. Negative aura.
Well, that means the Lions are on the clock at 17. And this was one of my least favorite picks to draft. Because I couldn't find something I really loved for them. I think they were in a spot that maybe would try and trade down and then take a tackle later in the 20s. But then it's like looking who's available. It's like I don't really know who's trading up to get to 17 to take who. And then it's like, hey, well, did they still go tackle here? And it's like they may. I mean, tackles, like I said, get pushed up the board all the time. But I didn't find a tackle I liked well enough here. Because I was like a couple, like Blake Miller, pretty good. But then like Blake Miller's going to want to, he's been a right tackle. Fit's not necessarily there. So that doesn't really work.
I feel like maybe someone trades up either for Sadiq or Ioane. I feel like those are the two. I don't think anyone's trading up for Thieneman.
Caden Proctor here.
Yeah, you could go Caden Proctor. I just end up not going tackle. I have them taking a guy that I'm lower on, so this is the reason I don't really love the pick. But they are going Keldrick Falk here to kind of shore up that front 7. I think they could use some. It's just like I think they could use some more pass rushing juice alongside Aiden Hutchinson. But then I really trust Keldrick Falk to bring that pass rushing juice. But if he lives up to his potential and he's still young and he can figure it out on the edge, then you do get a guy who's a great run stopper. That they can, also provide juice in the pass rushing, game. I just don't know if that's going to be there.
Yeah, they were the 20th best defense in the NFL last year, which is kind of inexcusable for how good they were offensively, and that even goes back to last year as well. Very quickly, you could just blame the injuries, but also, I'd argue maybe a little bit more so they don't have necessarily the talent that they have there on the defensive side of the ball that they have on the offensive side of the ball, outside of Aiden Hutchinson, and maybe you could argue Jack Campbell, or Terrion Arnold, or Brian Branch. But that
Kirby Joseph.
I don't think it's on par with what they have on the offensive side of the ball, and Jahmyr Gibbs, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jameson Williams, and Jared Goff, and Penei Sewell. So I would love a pick of defense for the Lions. Keldrick Falk makes sense for me. Zion Young, R. Mason Thomas, any of the edge rushers kind of makes sense for me, and I'd be fully okay with it in an event where Akeem Mesidor, I feel like it's the best fit for them, and so an event where he's picked 2 picks earlier, I do still think you stick to your guns and go edge rusher, and add another piece to try and be on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson, and also you look at the last 2 Super Bowl champions. They were deep at edge rusher.
Yeah.
And so get a cheap one, a rookie one that's going to be a rookie contract.
And that will make. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go first. No, I'll wrap it up. And
That would make 3 straight years, maybe 4. Hold up. 2026, 2025, 2024. So that would make 3 straight years. They invested a first rounder on defense, and 4 of the last 5, with Aiden Hutchinson in 22, Jack Campbell in 23, Terrion Arnold in 24, Tyleik Williams in 25, and then if they go at defender here, it'd be 26. So that would be a lot of resources. Their last offensive player, they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round in 23, and Jameson in 22, Penei Sewell in 21. So you kind of start to run the risk of if you do that, you're not it's a win now
Do
move.
they not have enough weapons, though?
They do, but
They were the 5th best offense in
you
the
have
league.
to,
They didn't lose anyone.
correct. But I'm also just thinking it's unfortunate that they've invested all that on defense. But you also just don't know you have in Tyleik Williams. I'm also just thinking if you do that, you run the risk of foregoing offense next year or the year after that.
I just don't think
Who are you going to go?
they gotta win. They're this year. It's
Right.
this year. It's this year. It's this year. I get that eventually the scale's gonna tip, and all of a sudden you don't have any offensive talent because you're not backfilling. But the window's closing. So
Right.
The last thing I was gonna say is also the the Lions have been someone that in recent years have made some unorthodox / surprising picks. Like, it's pretty clear that they
Kenyon Sadiq would, I think, send some trimmers through the world.
Yeah, like, even like when they took Jahmyr Gibbs, that was really surprising. Jack Campbell wasn't really necessarily seen to be picked there. Like,
Sam Laporta was surprising because they still had T.J. Hawkinson at the time, I believe. Or did they trade him and then bring in? I believe they still had Hawkinson.
No, I think Hawkinson was already gone because Laporta was really good his rookie year.
Okay.
Because a dude on TikTok said that Sam Laporta was going to be the steal of the draft, and then it became his whole character.
no,
And he has like over 100,000 followers.
that's crazy. But yeah.
Well, in that case, Jamal McCoy is going to be steal the draft. I don't know. I'm just the first player I saw on that list.
Well, Jamon McCoy is somewhat maybe falling. We'll see where he ends up.
There we go.
Vikings
got
at
us 100,000 followers.
Vikings at 18, and this has been one of the most mocked picks I've seen, and it's Dylan Thieneman going here to 18 to replace Josh Harrison, the longtime safety. Cool, yeah. For a second, I thought you looked at me like I may have messed up his name.
How did you say his name?
Josh Harrison.
Oh, I don't know who Josh Harrison is.
I'm about to say I don't. Maybe I'm
Give
really,
the context again.
the Vikings' longtime safety.
Harrison Smith.
Harrison
Yeah.
Smith. Who is Josh Harrison?
I don't know.
Harrison Smith. I got his last name first.
American,
Josh Harrison.
Close enough.
Classic American baseball player Josh Harrison.
Oh my gosh.
Played for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Dude, you go watch his highlights later. Dog on the base paths.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
so elusive. He may be the best player ever at getting out of a pickle. It was like his whole shtick.
Last played for the Phillies in 2023. So that's probably who you're thinking about. But that's
Harrison Smith.
Yes,
Harrison Smith is who I meant to talk about, not get out of the pickle legend. Seriously, I'm not trolling. You gotta go watch later. Anyone watching, you also should go watch. He's kind of like the shoe-in replacement for him. That's been like mocked a ton. Their defensive backfield needs help. Some of their other bigger needs aren't. It's not a great place to pick them here. Maybe they could go interior defensive line here. Maybe they go Caleb Banks. But I love Dylan Thieneman as a fit. There's a reason it's been mocked everywhere, and I kind of agree with those reasons, to replace Harrison Smith.
Yeah, really productive in college. 306 tackles, 8 picks. That's over 3 years. The Vikings had only 8 interceptions last year, and that was with a top 6 defense in the league. Pro comp for him is like a more physically gifted, and I don't mean to pick a white guy, but he is about the same build as Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
More physically gifted, ran a faster 40 at the combine, had a higher vertical. Will he have the same kind of knacks as DeJean is kind of the question maybe. But he's a true hybrid. He can play anywhere. He played a ton of deep safety at Purdue, but then he moved into the box with Oregon. And I love the pick as a replacement for Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
He makes a ton of sense for
The thing
a
I have in
reason.
my notes is like the pre-draft process has given him an athletic profile that's elite to go with the elite tape, and that's why he's kind of rising. Because people didn't necessarily know he was going to run a sub 4.40. People wouldn't know he was going to test like he did. Now that we know that, and then you go back and watch the tape, he really pops as a prospect.
Yep. We also have an Eagles fan in the chat, JP Pusolowski 6270. Thank you for joining us. He, I don't know.
Yeah, well, interesting.
Yeah, with a name like JP, it sounds like a he. Welcome in, Abby. And yes, that Coop was just referenced, or Coop.
Now we get to our biggest haters pick.
True.
In terms of biggest haters
True.
of the podcast, and that's Carolina Panthers fans. And I have them going Kenyon Sadiq. It's a pick I've really come to fall in love with, as you believe, and you fully believe, delusional or not, that Bryce Young is the future. Bryce Young is your guy. And so you need to get him more weapons, right? Jatavian Sanders hasn't really worked out at the tight end position. Tommy Trimble was their leading receiver at the tight end position last season. He had sub 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the wide receiver front, Jalen Coker's been a good revelation as a 7th-round pick, or was he undrafted free agent?
I don't
Regardless,
remember. He's been good.
great
It
value
looks like
there.
an undrafted free agent.
Tet was fantastic his rookie year, but Xavier Legette hasn't really worked out. More weapons are needed. Kenyon Sadiq is a fantastic tight end prospect. Really compact, strong frame, is good after the catch, solid blocker. I really like that fit and pick.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick at all. I will say Trimble did have their longest catch of the season last year,
Shout out Trimble.
54 yards, which was the 6th shortest, longest catch for a team last year. So a weapon is definitely a need.
Yeah.
Like, I don't hate receiver or tight end. In this case, a receiving tight end and Kenyon Sadiq for them. I'm curious to see how he'll kind of fit in an offense that likes to run the football with the top 5 running back in Chuba Hubbard. So we'll see how that's as a fit. But this guy's a physical specimen. 43.5 vertical, which is like comparable to Michael Jordan, which is pretty good.
It's quite good.
And a 4.39 at the combine as a tight end. He 51 catches, 560 yards, and 8 touchdowns last year. And he's a human highlight film. Kenyon Sadiq is. Panthers need weapons like that who are actually human highlight films, not just, pedestaled as top 5 talents.
Sure.
In Chuba Hubbard or Bryce Young, among others. So I really like the pick. I think this is the first time I've seen it personally in a mock as well. So creativity there.
Yeah, it's kind of become one of my personal favorites because I haven't seen it necessarily either. And it hurts me a little bit that one of my favorite picks to make is a Panthers pick, but it has had the way the cookie crumbles. Which means the Cowboys are back up at 20, picking instead of Green Bay, because of the Micah Parsons trade. And I'm going to have them double dip on defense. They got Mansour Delane in the first round, and I'm going to have them go C.J. Allen here.
Okay.
A piece to help out in the front 7. I think he can play alongside Overshown just fine. Can bring some blitzing chops. There's some concern about what he can do in coverage. He may struggle against faster guys and getting out into space. But I think he's going to be very good attacking downhill, very good in the run game. Just a nice piece to add to the defense. Just simply put, a defense that needs more talent and more studs.
Yeah, and they've shown that in their offseason moves. This is the Cowboys' offense with 0 new players added.
0 new starters, yeah.
0 new starters, thank you. And then that's the Cowboys' defense with 4 new starters added, or projected starters added via our lads. And so they draft one earlier in Mansour Delane. I don't hate them drafting another. They just can't. I almost wish they could go Jamal McCoy because Jamal McCoy is also fantastic.
I mean,
they could. I just you paid Deron Bland.
Yeah.
You've got Siobhan Revelle, who you drafted in the 3rd round, who at one point last year was getting back into the first, early 2nd round conversation.
Go Pirates.
He was ACL. That was his concern, was injuries. He didn't play a lot. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so you just already have enough tied up there that it's really hard to make sense of going 2 first-round defensive backs.
They also added 2.
Correct.
DBs
Thank you. Jalen Thompson and Kobe Durant.
3, if you count Jalen Thompson. I counted Kobe Durant and Darian Kendrick as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you just meant cornerbacks, not just
2 corners
not just
and the Jalen Thompson
secondary
at safety. Yeah.
So I like it. I like it a lot.
Cool. Well, that brings the Steelers to on the clock at pick 21, and I have them going Awane. However, said they are now pronouncing his name.
Ioane.
The guard out of Penn State. So physically imposing. Just a brute. Unreal strength is going to be just a mover of bodies on the inside, especially in the run game. And that's what the Steelers are going to try and do is pound the rock, right? I expect Aaron Rodgers to probably come back. There's no actual reports on that, but it just kind of feels like where we're heading. Maybe struggles a little bit in terms of lateral quickness, could be beat by little, twitchier guys on the inside. But just the strength he plays with is unreal.
Yeah.
And he's the best true guard prospect, and they get him at 21, so I'm happy with that.
6'4", 320, 32 starts in college, almost all of them at left guard. His parents were not big on him playing sports growing up, and so his sophomore year of high school, he sneakingly signed up for the football team, and on Friday nights, he would sneak out of his house and go play high school football.
That's insane.
His sophomore year, he finally got enough traction that he was getting good enough, and then his parents were found out, and he was allowed to actually go to the games on junior and senior year.
That's
But
But
crazy.
his sophomore year, he snuck out of his house on Friday nights to go play football.
What a world, man. Because I'm just thinking, like,
And from away games, he's not getting back till like 1 a.m. You know, you got to bus back to the school, and then
Yeah.
that's what I'm like. That would just, like, just different worlds. Like, that would never work with my parents.
no.
Like, they'd be like, where are you? And I'd be like, yeah. Or, I'm leaving. And they'd be like, well, I guess he snuck out. But that's also just not going to happen.
yeah,
I'm
you
cooked.
take a bunch of photos of you in your bedroom and just send it to them
Yep.
throughout the night.
Yeah.
Like, oh, working on homework.
You're just going to come back into the house after playing football, after playing left guard, all normal,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Why are you so sweaty and grass stained? Oh, I fell down a hill.
Why are you limping?
Yeah, yeah.
All that.
Tears his ACL.
You get
like,
cleated. Yeah, you get cleated down the leg.
that's that's really
true,
impressive by him.
How'd you tear your AC? Yeah, sorry.
Getting concussion.
Yeah. Sanders, your Chargers are on the clock, and I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked JP. What would you want here as a Chargers fan with how the board is shaken out? You're probably just really sad.
Well, it is tough
State
that the
guard.
next 3 players are all defensive players. I feel like, unfortunately, Omar Cooper
Reach.
Jr. is the move again. I don't want offensive line. I don't want defense. And right now, the PFF big board goes defense, defense, defense,
Chargers fan doesn't
Omar
want
Cooper Jr.
offensive line.
offensive line, defense,
I've
offensive
heard it
line,
all.
defense, defense, offensive line, wide receiver. So like the options, tackles. I misspoke. I don't really want to tackle because I feel good about our tackle situation.
Yeah, but there's also a tackle on the board, for example, that could, is getting a lot of talk about, hey, having to kick in the guard.
And
Talking about Proctor.
Yeah, you also,
Okay,
he
that's
goes
fair.
to your college team.
That's fair.
So
So
you get good connection there.
neither of those tackles played a full season last year either.
that is also true. So let me amend my statement to say I don't want defense. At least, I don't really think defense is the move at 22, and I don't want a tackle at offensive line because I like our offensive linemen that we have there.
So Caden Proctor, like if I took Caden Proctor here, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I'd be all right with that.
Well, I went Omar Cooper here at 22. Best wide receiver available and a darn good wide receiver prospect at that. You've given Justin Herbert the past couple years like a quality or a solid wide receiver room, but it's never been like, wow, that's a great wide receiver room. And so hopefully Omar Cooper can come in and kind of take it to that next level. We've heard if Justin Herbert had better weapons.
Whoa.
So now we can clarify, get some clarity on another if for
Oh,
if
so
man.
I mean, I still think we could say rookie wide receiver. How much does he move the needle?
Jamar Chase
20. He has,
allowed the Bengals go to the Super Bowl.
he has 20.
Jamar Chase and Omar Cooper Jr. You put Jamar Chase on the Chargers, dude. Oof, that would be something.
Just over, still getting sacked a ton. Omar Cooper has 20 touchdown catches across the past 2 seasons. Just been very productive for Indiana.
Yeah.
Pretty
spent-
physical for his size.
Yeah, he spent all 4 years there too. So he went through the trials and tribulations the first 2 years, where he had just 7 combined wins and 18 total catches. Kurt Cignetti arrives. He has 27 wins over the next 2 seasons, including a national championship, and then last year, nearly 1,000-yard receiver for Indiana.
That's crazy.
Really popped. Had the best catch in college football.
Yeah.
Best catch in football, I'd argue. In the toe tap against Penn State. His NFL comp, if you're looking for like a receiver comp, is kind of like Jaden Reed. He's going to be a slot guy, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to play outside, even with this 4.42 at the combine. But he's going to be dangerous, like in any way you can get the ball in his hands. Just like with Jaden Reed, any way you can hit the ball in his hands, he can be dangerous after the catch.
Yeah, fit maybe isn't great talking about him playing out of the slot.
Not at all.
But I think you can move guys around enough, and I think Omar Cooper, while he probably will be best out of the slot, you can line him up other places, and he'll find success. So the Eagles are now on the clock at 23, and I have them going Blake Miller because this is widely believed to be Lane Johnson's final season. And as with that, I mean, Lane Johnson missed 8 games last season, is getting up there in age, so who knows if he even stays healthy. And Blake Miller is the ultimate Iron Man. He started 50-plus games across his college career. Some stuff he needs to clean up technique-wise. But so I mean, ideally, maybe he even doesn't have to play a ton rookie season. But this is definitely a forward-thinking draft pick. That's something the Eagles like to do.
Yeah, Lane missed 7.
7.
7 games, not 8. He's going to be 36 next year regardless. So it's still going to be a need, and that's a right tackle need as well. Lane Johnson is right tackle. So I don't hate the pick. I do think you drafted a less talented tackle. I think Caden Proctor would have been better here.
True.
In my opinion.
Him, or I mean, if you wanted to go even more upside swing, you go Max from Arizona State.
Max what?
Henachor, I think, is what I sent
I
to
was
the
gonna
chat.
try and get Jack to say it.
Oh.
There's a reason I didn't say it in the first place. So
No, Henachor.
Henachor.
Yeah, but he's only played football for 3 years. But he is, yes, the upside there. But it's a need, and I'm fine with the pick there. With how much they've invested in the past on defense, I don't think it makes sense to go defense necessarily with this first-round pick. I think you'd rather get a blue-chip there guy. They also they spent a fair amount of money on their defense regardless. So,
yeah, I
I
do
don't
think it's
hate the
good.
pick.
It's a good point. Like, I love tackle there. You could easily plug in a different tackle there and like be perfectly happy with it. Just depends on what flavor you want.
Yeah. At 24, I think I'm gonna be honest. I kind of feel like if I'm the Browns, well, you go to say where you go, and I'll say my thought process.
So I had the Browns going tackle in the first round, and now I think it's time to get another playmaker to pair with the playmakers you have there in
Jerry Jeudy and
then you have Harold Fannin,
thank you.
Isaiah
who
Bond.
was actually the leading receiver. You have Isaiah Bond, depending on how you feel about him.
Judkins.
Yep, a
Dylan
couple
Sampson.
young running backs that flashed in the rookie season. I have them going Casey Concepcion, out of A&M, great out of the slot. He's a great route runner. He's even better after the catch, and I think after the catch pop is something this Browns team desperately needs. Like someone to get, easy yards, someone to get yards aside from what's just schemed. And he also he's a little smaller, right? Hence him playing out of the slot, but he plays with such power at that size. The biggest concern for him is high drop rate. Isn't sometimes tries to like body catch, doesn't have the most natural hands, but Shadur's got him in that front. He'll throw him a very catchable ball.
Not what we want to hear about your first round wide receiver.
Yeah, do you know how many receiving touchdowns he had last year?
I don't off the top of my head.
Give or take like 8?
Yeah, I was gonna say 7 or 8.
Yeah, that would be twice as many touchdowns as the Browns had from receivers last year.
All kinds too. A couple deep balls.
Yeah.
He took a couple screens to the house. Mm-hmm. He took a punt return to the house. Like just very versatile in that sense. So.
Yeah, he would be a surefire, I think, fit in terms of need. Like I said, 4 receiving touchdowns from receivers last year. They also did not invest in the receiver room this offseason. Their only signee was signing Tylan Wallace, who has been a reserve receiver for the Ravens for the last 5 years. So they have a need here, and yeah, as we've detailed and everyone's detailed, Brown's got to go offensive tackle and receiver in some combination. And I don't hate this pick. Do you think he is the best receiver available at this point? You like him more than you like Denzel Boston, more than you like...
It's just Boston, really.
Just Denzel Boston, yeah, really.
I do, yeah. I think he can just do more than Denzel Boston does. And I think there's even like a sneaky vertical threat with KC. Obviously, he's not the vertical threat or like the physical threat that Boston is downfield. But like you get KC matched up against a slot, like he can win that vertically. Mm-hmm. He just brings more to the table, even if maybe Denzel Boston's vertical threat is like is better than any trait KC has. KC just is more well rounded.
I'm with it.
Next up, Chicago Bears.
You had something you were going to say about the Browns.
Oh, just with the way the board fell, I almost wish that they had gotten Carnell Tate first and then could get Caden Proctor here.
Sure.
Just because
That's the fun part about the draft.
it is the fun part, hindsight 2020, but it is unfortunate that Casey Concepcion goes, that Casey can, I just don't know that I want Casey Concepcion when I need a wide receiver as badly as I think the Browns do. That's not anything against him. I just don't. They don't.
That
really,
is something against him.
I guess. Okay, that is something against him. Hate him. No, I don't know if I want him to be the guy, and I think they still need the guy because I don't think Jerry Judy's the guy.
Yeah, and I think ideally it's a thing of we draft KC, and I don't think they view him as some top tier, wide receiver one. But also realistically, I don't know if I don't. They're saying Shadir's their guy, but they're also saying Shadir's their guy for 2026, right? I think maybe they end up with a quarterback, and then they also, at some point, draft or acquire an even better wide receiver, and then you have a really good wide receiver too in KC.
Yeah.
Because KC there's a clear drop off between the top three guys, and then I think at this point there's also like another little drop off after Omar Cooper as like who wide receiver 5 is. So I think that's fair. We're gonna go back to back Aggies here. As the Bears take Cassius Howell at 25, he can play along opposite of Montez Sweat, Mississippi State legend. Two guys coming from the maroon and white, and I think it's a good fit for Cassius Howell in terms of like I've given his arm length concerns that are well documented in the way he plays. I think you really have to play him alongside a good pass rusher. Like I don't think he can come in and be the alpha on a defensive line. And so maybe you're like, why take him in the first round then? But I think he can just be a fantastic secondary pass rusher. And also he can just do some good stuff in terms of like dropping into coverage. He can play the flats well. He's really fast and really twitchy. So I think it's just a really good fun piece for the Bears to add. I considered going Emmanuel McNeil-Warren here. It depends on how they want to use Kobe Bryant that they brought in from Seattle. But since I don't know, I'll never know how they're going to use him, I guess, until draft night, until next season starts. So I think it cashes out.
Yeah, with the amount of money they spent on Kobe too.
Yeah.
3 years, $40 million. I like the Howe pick to piggyback on what you're saying. Like they kind of are, in my estimation, they already have their front four set. Their top four starters, and so Howe can be a third down pass rusher, or he can be just a rotation piece to begin with. Because based on historical data, he'll never have a double-digit sack season, but he can still be a playmaker for the Chicago Bears in different ways. And playmaker is the word I'd use for him.
Yeah,
as I have many times. So I don't hate this pick for Chicago. I do think it fits a need. It's also the need that they addressed the least in free agency. They signed Devin Bush and Jack Sanborn at linebacker. They signed Cam Lewis, Kobe Bryant at defensive back. They only signed Neville Gallimore, who's a defensive tackle, as their one defensive line addition.
Yeah. Cool. Anything to add there, Sanders? Or can we get on to the Bills?
Nope, to the Bills.
The Bills. Drafting at 26. A couple different ways they can play this. I think with the trading for DJ Moore, that we're gonna see defense here. There's maybe they'll double dip. I don't see it. So I have them going TJ Parker here, edge out of Clemson. Mixed feelings on TJ Parker, probably more leaning towards the down. He was not very productive last season, but he still brings good physical tools and good size to the table. And so I think eventually at some point towards the back end of this first round, someone's going to bank on that. And bank on previous tape and take a swing. And I think the Bills are the team to do that, try and get a little more pass rushing juice in the building.
Yeah, they keep going expensive at edge rusher, and they're going to have to again. They already signed Greg Rousseau.
Yeah.
But they did again this offseason, is what I meant to say. Bradley Chubb with his 3 years, $43 million. So having a cheaper edge rushing threat, I really like for Buffalo. I think it fits a need as well. Joey Bosa is going to be gone. A.J. Epinesa is also gone. And I think while T.J. Parker isn't going to be, I think, an elite pass rusher, he can also be a really good run stopper.
Yeah.
And this was the 5th worst rush defense in the National Football League last year.
Yep.
So he's a great fit for that as well.
Yeah, and talking about them being that bad rush defense, this really is a spot you could see the first defensive tackle go. And you can take a swing with Caleb Banks, Katie McDonald. But I had them electing for edge. 49ers at 27, and this is another team I really struggled with, just from a standpoint of they could go tackle, but I don't think it's like just this massive need. Both tackles are still on the younger side, so I think they're going to want to see it through, and maybe give them a little more time to potentially develop and really shore up. So I was looking defensive side. Okay, they could really use some edge rush help. JP already mentioned earlier in the episode they were 27th in sacks.
No, last
Last
they
in
had
sacks.
20
They
sacks.
had 27 or 20 sacks.
Yeah.
But who is the edge rusher here, realistically? Is it a Zion Young? You already mentioned R. Mason Thomas earlier. Is it him? Is there someone else they reach for a little bit? And so then I looked at safety, and that is where I have them going into Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Just adds yet
Deal.
another piece to that room. And it's like they lost Robert Saleh, right? So I just don't know what their defensive identity or what exactly the new guy is going to try and do, whose name I don't have written down or off the top of my head. But just a super physically imposing piece, is tall and rangy. I think he plays with good anticipation. He forced 9 fumbles, so he gets after the ball. You have to like that. I think the 49ers will really like that. So just a piece for the back end of their defense.
Yeah, they hired internally. They hired their linebacker coach to
Gotcha.
now be the defensive coordinator. I don't know his name either, but it was an internal hire, so you kind of expect them to stick to the same
Probably
system
so
a little
then,
bit. I'll go ahead and say I think this is your best pick so far.
Bang.
I think this is a great fit for the San Francisco 49ers. McNeil Warren is going to be very versatile. He can be very physical.
Are you sure? Because everything I have says Raheem Morris.
Did they hire Raheem Morris? Are we serious?
That's what.
All right, pick them to not make the playoffs.
I mean, that's what. Hold on, let me see if I can find like a.
I don't know.
Another
You could
Did
do
source?
they?
I would have preferred to hire internally, but
Someone hired internally then.
Uh,
Did they hire their offensive coordinator?
defensive
internally?
coordinator is Raheem Morris?
okay. Well, you can continue to make your point about Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, though.
No, this is the worst pick you've made so far.
Okay.
He does not fit Raheem Morris's scheme because Emil McNeil-Warren is good at playing defense and Raheem Morris is bad at coaching defense. So, that being said, the Niners need safety. I'm glad you got that figured out for me. That's key information. 49ers last in the division next year. Tough. Ty Simpson going to finish third in the division as a Cardinals quarterback.
Congrats to Ty.
But they allowed the 7th most yards through the air last year and the 8th most passing yards per game last year at 232. Now, part of that is they didn't have pass rush to begin with, but they also just didn't have the pieces that they are accustomed to having there. Fonga has been gone for 2 years, but he was a key piece.
Yeah.
They also have always kind of had just a really veteran safety that's played the back end for them. I think McNeil-Warren could quickly fill in and be a really good safety for them, and then maybe end up rivaling Nick Emmanwori in terms of who is the best safety in the division very quickly. Budda Baker also in that conversation.
Is Morris also a bad defensive coordinator?
I think he is a better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach.
That's for sure.
And his stats would certainly say that.
I mean, it definitely has to be pretty defensive coordinator for him to go from being a head coach to getting fired to then like going back to being a defensive coordinator and then getting another opportunity as a head coach.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
no
I'm
different
going-
than kind of Robert Saleh. in a
When
way.
he was the the
Rams defensive coordinator.
both he was the Falcons and Rams defensive coordinator,
Yeah.
and his defenses were like top 20 So-
As a head coach.
as a DC.
Okay, well then he's terrible.
It's not great.
Yeah,
I
they
thought his
were.
stats were better than that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, top. They were 17th, 19th, and 20th.
He must interview really
No,
well then.
this is actually okay.
His post-game speech after beating the Saints in the final week was great job on finishing the right way.
Elite.
Like, because they'd won 4 in a row down the stretch when they got eliminated from the playoffs and then immediately just went on a tear, beat the Rams,
Yeah.
Yeah,
beat the Saints, won another game they weren't supposed to win, beat the Buccaneers on Thursday night. That was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave his speech of great job on finishing the right way. he just wasn't there to help them in the middle part where they're losing to the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Well, we can move on to the Texans at 28. And they could use some more offensive line help. I know they brought in a lot of pieces in the offseason. They have some returners. But I'm not convinced. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they also bring in a rookie to compete. And then aside from that, it's interior defensive linemen. It's Caleb Banks, maybe a Caden McDonald. But I'm a bit lower on that group, so I'm just going to have them go Caden Proctor, tackle out of Alabama. Great athlete, shows some inconsistencies on film. Some people think he'll have to eventually move into guard. But once again, like for the Texans, maybe they just prefer to start him at guard and go with that. I'm jaded on their offensive line as a whole. Like I really need to see it for it to be proven that it's a good group. They brought in Wyatt Teller, for example, one of the guys, but like he's getting older. So I think I'm Caden Proctor and just kind of bring in more bodies to try and shore up the biggest weakness of their team.
Yeah, some teams and organizations earn benefit of the doubt, right? Like the Chiefs with defensive backs. Like you're just going to trust them that whoever they have there is going to play well because it's what they do. I don't know what the opposite of benefit of the doubt is, but that's what the Texans have when it comes to the offensive line. Mistrust, lack of trust in their ability to field an offensive line. That's kind of what the Texans have from.
They also just don't. This regime hasn't really prioritized the interior of the defensive line, and so I just have them continuing that theme. Now maybe it's a thing of like, okay, well we haven't prioritized it, but we don't really have tons of other big needs, so like now we will take a guy, and then like imagine if they go upside swing, and it works out. How much better the defense gets, but I like offensive line here.
Cool. I'm not sure where he's going to start. He could maybe start at right tackle for them. Braden Smith, I think, is going to start at left tackle. I think Wyatt Teller would start at left guard. Ed Ingram would start at right guard. Proctor's not a center. No reason to put him there at center.
Oh, yeah,
so
100% not.
Now he's in a battle with Trent Brown, the 33-year-old veteran who not have a great year last year for Houston, but that would be where the debate would be for Proctor.
Yeah.
He's talented enough to start. It's just, do you start a rookie tackle is always a question, and we saw that last season with the Patriots down the stretch.
Another guy you don't want to sleep on is last year's second-round pick, Arante Ursary.
Yeah.
Just because, the higher the pick you were, the more leash you have, the more opportunities you get.
He'll get a look in camp at the very least.
Yep.
This worked out crazy for the Chiefs. I'm not going to lie.
I hate this.
Because somehow Jermon McCoy has slid to 29. But, I mean, just, look at the board, and maybe some point eventually we'll just be like, he's too good to pass up. But just there's a swath of teams that don't really need corner. And then that given the kind of clouded projection with, McCoy, he was great in 2024. But he didn't play at all last year because of his ACL, and it's taken him forever to rehab from it. So, there's some scare there. But I think this is where the Chiefs will just end up taking him, or where someone will end up taking him, and it's 29 to the Chiefs. You just talked about Chiefs and the defensive backs. But,
I wasn't talking about a top 20 player falling basically to 30.
Trent McDuffie is gone. His counterpart is also gone to the Rams. He left in free agency. And so they really need help there in the backfield. And, maybe this is Will Johnson really fell too, due to some injury concern. So maybe this is another Will Johnson.
Sure. I don't think he'll be here. I think someone will have traded up by then.
Odds are he's not.
Yeah.
I was just doing the mock, and then I looked, and I was like, well, okay,
I guess Will Johnson slid all the way to the second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dolphins at 30. Even you could see, I guess, maybe the Dolphins trying to move up and, hop the Chiefs to get Jermon McCoy. I'm going to have them go Colton Hood, though. So it's back-to-back Tennessee corners, actually. Colton Hood is very physical, great in press. Let's see what else I have on him. I don't have it on top of my head.
Great in press. That's great for Jeff Halfley because they run a lot of press.
Yeah. The biggest kind of concern is his hips can be a little stiff. Twitchy.
His hips do lie.
Guys can sometimes get him. But I think it's a good fit talking about the press piece. and like if they won't because they've set it up this way, but like if somehow they didn't come out of this draft with a corner, we'd probably see records set on them.
Probably. It's a bad cornerback room. Do you have what it looks like right now? Because
They're really established starters. Rasul Douglas, that's about it.
Yeah.
But they allowed a league a high completion percentage last year, 72%.
yeah, and the rest of that room, I know Storm Duck is there.
They signed Marco Wilson and Lonnie Johnson. Lonnie Johnson's, though, a safety.
Yep. Daryl Baker, they brought in from Tennessee in free agency. He was part of a bad defense there. So hopefully they have to go defense here. And they could even, if they hadn't traded away, Waddle, they wouldn't have this pick. But if wide receiver wasn't a need as badly as it is, they could double up in the secondary.
Yeah.
But I don't hate the Colton Hood pick. It's a need.
That brings the Patriots on the clock at 31. Last time when we did a joint mock draft, I had them going tackle here. I won't do that this time. I'll put my faith in Will Campbell. So then aside from that, it's like, okay, maybe they need some linebacker help. It's not like a crazy reach for someone like a Jacob Rodriguez or someone to go here into first round. I don't love it personally. So I'm looking along the defensive line, and I have them taking Caden McDonald to play kind of potentially in between Milton Williams and Christian Barmore and really shore up that run defense, which is already pretty strong, but you're just kind of making his strength even better. So,
Yeah, they were a top 5 rush defense last year.
and it's just good value too. I mean, even if you go Caleb Banks, you're basically getting your pick of the top interior defensive lineman at 31.
Cool.
Which then brings us to the Seahawks to wrap it up, and I have them dipping back into the edge rusher well. Their top guys are still there, but they lost some more of the kind of depth pieces due to cap space restrictions. So if they want to be able to pass rush from depth, Sanders, you did guess right. I have them going Zion Young out of Missouri. I like the tenacity and demeanor he plays with, and he's also just he's really physical. Not exactly the twitchiest or bendiest of edge rushers, but I like the fit, and I kind of like the idea behind how they've built their team, and so I think they stick with that.
Cool.
Some youth is kind of needed there, too.
Yeah.
4 different edge rushers or defensive linemen that are over 30, and Leonard Williams, Nwosu, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Jaron Reed. So,
and again, it's a spot I have them going Zion Young. I can see them going R. Mason Thomas. I can see them going a different edge rusher. But I really like the idea of edge rusher there. Excuse me.
It is crazy that with the age of that defensive room, Mafe is the one that's not there anymore.
it was just they knew
The
with
timing was unfortunate.
the timing, with having to pay him, having to decide between him, Kobe Bryant, Kenneth Walker. You also want to re-sign to massive extensions Devon Witherspoon and JSN.
Rashid Shaheed they extended.
They wanted Rashid Shaheed. They brought him back. They wanted Josh Jobe back. They brought him back. They wanted Drake Thomas back. They brought him back. It was just tough for them to decide where the money was going to go, and so they let the most expensive pieces, Kenneth Walker and Kobe Bryant and Boye Mafe, go to allow them to be able to spend those expensive contracts on JSN and Devon Witherspoon.
Yeah.
It's good management. Now I didn't understand the contract situation a decade ago, but when they won the Super Bowl the last time, they brought everyone back and they gave everyone big contracts. And then once they lost to the Patriots, it kind of all fell apart and everyone was overpaid and no one liked each other anymore because they didn't run the football.
Yeah.
On second and goal.
I saw quick Aggie baseball. I saw y'all had the SEC did their players of the week and stuff.
Yeah.
And Grahovac won co-player, and then Jorian Wilson won freshman of the week.
Yep, very impressive.
Is he a pitcher or a
Outfielder. He's a guy. I think I'd maybe call him like y'all's Jacob Parker in terms of like.
Apparently, y'all's Jacob Parker is Nico Partita.
Well, he's also really good. But I was going to say, in terms of a freshman where they get into the batter's box, for example, and they just don't look like a freshman from like
Yeah.
a size standpoint and a
Oh,
physical
yeah.
tools standpoint. Like, he is very much that.
Yeah. I for some reason it came across my feed and I'm not sure. Well, it's because it's related to Jacob Parker and it said Jacob Parker might be running away with SEC Freshman of the Year, hitting .353 with 6 home runs and 20 RBIs this season. Which I will say, 2 home runs from Parker against a top 25 team on the road and not winning Freshman of the Week. I don't know what kind of weekend Jorian Wilson had.
I'm pretty sure he hit multiple home runs. He threw a runner
Okay.
out at home.
Yeah, okay. So a fantastic weekend then.
I just don't entirely know because, like, I didn't watch any of the games, but like you know, I'm following up. Like, you know, I have my Twitter notifications on for Aggie baseball.
Yeah.
But when we score double-digit runs in every game, like some highlights and stuff get lost, and so
For
like
sure.
we win a game 5-1. I know how every one of our runs is scored.
Yeah.
We win a game 15-2. I don't know how every one of our runs was scored.
Yeah. Well, this A&M account thinks that Freshman of the Year is going to come down to Parker and then Nico Partita, who's hitting .320 with 7 home runs, and also playing third base. Who y'all's third baseman got drafted last year, right?
Mm-mm.
Who
He was
played-
hurt last year, Gavin.
And then got hurt.
But Gavin's playing first, and he's back because he won
Oh.
co-player of the week this year.
I thought he was that outfielder, but the outfielder got drafted last year.
Jace, correct.
I get Lafayette and Grahovac mixed up.
Fair.
Just because I don't follow A&M baseball that much, and they're the 2 names I know. Okay, so he moved from third to first just
Yes.
because. Why did he move?
I don't know if it's just a thing of like Pertita's a better defender, but we needed Grahovac to play somewhere because he's a good enough hitter, and we didn't really
Yeah.
have a first baseman. I don't know. He's been good at first base. So
That's cool.
It's worked out.
But that'll be fun to watch. Apparently, he's got a lot more at bats than Parker does, which is state.
Yeah, we're
fans-
not as deep, so
Yeah,
he's an everyday guy.
yeah. Well, I think Parker's kind of to
He
that
probably,
point.
I would say he probably will get there.
He has 1 more home run and 3 more RBIs and has twice as many at bats.
Yeah.
But he's no Jacob Parker. Oh man, college baseball's so fun when you're good.
I mean, anything's more fun when you're good, realistically.
True. Everything is more fun when you're good. I'm just aware of that for college baseball right now because we are good.
Well, that is my 1.5 mock draft. I would give myself a B- for it. Not my best work, not my worst work. With that being said, though, that's it. We can get out of here, and we will not be back for y'all on Thursday. We'll be back for y'all Wednesday in a new location. That location will be the Humphrey Coliseum, where we'll be doing a weekly segments and then Final Four preview. We can't wait to see y'all then, and thanks as always for tuning in. Peace.
See ya.